Celebrate the iconic Crucible Theatre, a glorious arena of champions. Remember the passion and dedication of the Titans of the Green Bays.
Is he taking the double? He is!
The whispered commentary.
Everything's starting to flow now. Making hay while the sun shines.
The late night battles.
This is really unbelievable.
The tears and laughter of the game's greatest players.
The young man crying with joy.
I don't believe this.
5 minutes for one unbelievable maximum break.
The drama and the passion as the best in the world come head to head. For 17 days, they all battle for that iconic title. Betfred, proud sponsor of the World Snooker Championship.
Welcome back to the English Institute of Sport. The dream is still alive. 16 players left in the hunt for the title, and it's all got a little bit dramatic and a little bit pantomime. You wouldn't believe how we managed to get that smoke in. Don't worry. No women, children or pets were harmed in the process of this build-up. I'm joined by Mark Pearson, one of the big shots from Betfred. Mark, you guys have been involved for such a long time. 16 men still have a chance, but only 8 will be joining the best of the rest in that draw that you and I are conducting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So exciting. We're getting down to the business end of these qualifiers.
We certainly are. And I've been watching the qualifiers a lot on Facebook. I think you and Neil have been doing a fabulous job, and all the team and all the players as well. I think it's a real credit how you've made an event out of these qualifiers as well. And they are brutal, aren't they? They are so brutal. To think that a lot of these are just a few frames away from a dream and a debut at the Crucible of Dreams, and then it can go wrong, can't it? I think we're in for a really dramatic night for some of these boys.
And some of the quality tonight will be phenomenal. I mean, many people are saying that Stephen Maguire, he's 6-3 up against Hossein Vafai. Vafai, by the way, is bidding to become the first player from Iran to make it through, but he's 6-3 down. You know, you got the likes of Maguire coming through. This is world-class snooker.
You're doing a draw tomorrow morning, hosting it. You don't want to be pulling out Stephen Maguire, do you? Obviously, I know he's not through yet, but he's 6-3 up. You don't want to be pulling out Stephen Maguire, do you, if you're one of the top 16, because he can play. And obviously, they're coming in. They've played 3 tough matches as well. I mean, look, recently, Ding was a qualifier, wasn't he? And he got to, was it the final, the semi-final? So
yeah.
They're coming into these, they're not ring rusty. They're ready. That's why I think the qualifiers, I think we'll see a few of the seeds go out to these qualifiers, because these qualifiers have had 3 very, very tough matches.
Yeah, and they're ready to go. Now, you're always brimming with enthusiasm when you're in the press room. Are you looking forward to yet another big championship?
Look, I can't wait. I only arrived in Sheffield a few hours ago. It's about 25 degrees. It's sunny. It means one thing. We're about to be indoors for the next 20 days, doesn't it? Look, really looking forward to it. I think it's wide open. Incredibly, we're 2-1 the field. Obviously, Ronnie O'Sullivan, what a season he's had. A record equaling 5 ranking titles. He's a 2-1 favourite. Look, he could quite easily rock up and win a 6th title at Cantor, couldn't he? But we all know there's 2 Ronnies. Anything can happen with Ronnie O'Sullivan. Mark Selby going for 3 and a bounce. He's a 2nd favourite at 7-2. You got Judd Trump then at 7-1. And John Higgins, beaten finalist last year at 9-1. Neil Robertson won it before, 12-1. Ding, could he finally win the World Championship? He's 12-1. And you got Mark Williams again, rolling back the years at 16-1.
He certainly is.
And I was just working out before I came on air. Between the top 16 at the moment, there's 17 world titles between them. That's how good and that's how competitive the World Snooker Championship is now.
It certainly is. Thanks very much, Mark. You'll be getting all sorts of odds from Mark as the championship gets underway. Here's just a little reminder. If you've got in from work, this is how the matches came to a conclusion earlier on. Remember, there was a whole load starting at 11 o'clock, and now we are just about to get going with our afternoon's matches. So this is how it finished. Stuart Carrington, well, he had 2 superb clearances from 8 apiece to get through over Mighty Mouse, Xiang Anda. Graham Dott, the pocket dynamo, has only missed 1 year this century. It was 2014. He's
another world champion.
Yeah, 2006. He's been in 2 other finals as well. Robert Milkins, 10-3, got one of the best walk-ons. I know Neil Folters in the commentary box is looking forward to I Am a Cider Drinker. Matthew Stevens, been in a couple of finals, multiple semi-finalists, 10-2. Ricky Walden did really well against Andrew Higginson with a stinking cold. Hopefully he'll shake that off. Joe Perry is a former semi-finalist. He reached the one-table setup with a cracking semi-final that at one stage was 15-all between him and Ali Carter in 08. Chris Wakelin, one of the debutantes, has made it through. Tepchaya Unnu will be the 5th player from Thailand to appear at the Crucible. He too will be making his debut. He celebrated his 33rd birthday with that victory over Alfie Burden. And as for tonight, Ryan Dynamite Day, 6-3 up against Peter Ebden. Ebden has won it before, 2002. Daniel Wells and Liam Highfield, neither of them have been there before. That's the match we're predicting could well go 10-9. It's got decider written all over it. Xiao Guodong has a commanding lead over Adam Duffy. Adam Duffy had a really tough session yesterday. He's world number 99, hoping to become the first player from Sheffield to make it through to the Crucible. Liao Hao Qian, he is a potential debutant and he's 3 frames away against Rory McLeod. But remember, McLeod was unfancied last year and beat Judd Trump from 4-0 down in the first round. Jamie Jones, well, this is arguably the story so far. Jamie Jones, 9 up against Liang Wenbo, who earlier in the qualifiers looked as though he was going to become the first player in history to have 2 147s in the same match. McManus has got a little bit of work to do against Jumping Jack. Jack Lisowski looked really good against David Amazing Grace in the second round. Michael White just 1 up against Jimmy Robertson. And then Stephen On Fire Maguire has a lead of 6 frames to 3 against Hossein Vafai. We are all teed up for a great night of entertainment. The players are out. The first frames are being played with intense enthusiasm and I'm sure hatfuls of nerves. Stay with us. We will be here until right to the very end, until the 8th player has dropped their name into the hat for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Here's Neil Folds. We're starting with that match between the Iranian Hossein Vafai and the pride of Scotland, Stephen Maguire. Here we go. A night of entertainment is about to unfold.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much to Rob and Mark Pearson of Betfred as well. And we are looking at this Hossein Vafai game with Stephen Maguire. We're also watching out for Jamie Jones, who could actually, in lightning time, be the first man through. So we're monitoring that game. He's in actually already in frame 10 and leading 9-0. But we start off with, I think this is the, always looked to be a very intriguing clash. Maguire got the better of yesterday, but he didn't quite put the match away. 6-3 leads. He's playing a ferocious competitor from Iran, Vafai, who we've seen enough of to know he can really play. A few other things to point out. That some real tight games. Obviously, Liu Hushan is not one of those. 7-2 up over Rory McLeod. Ryan Day 6-3 over Peter Ebden. That's still not much happened there yet. That was an outrageous fluke, which of course Stephen Maguire will take. He didn't mind the cubble where it finished. It's one of those flukes that you don't really want it in. Didn't really want to play another shot from there. Well, see, the rolling up behind the green is not an easy shot because all the reds are spread far and wide. It's a big target to cover. Played it well, but you can see the problem he had. The left red he might just be able to get to. It's a tight one. Jimmy Robertson's already in against Michael White on 38 and scoring. And so is Liu Hushan, who's been really impressive. Young Chinese player, 20 years of age. He'll be the youngest player left. Well, he currently is the youngest player left in it. There's been younger in years gone by, of course, but snooker's a bit of an older man's game now. The younger talent invariably comes from China, although Michael White in his 20s, another player that's in the draw. So we're keeping an eye on everything. For now, Hossein Vafai has got a difficult snooker to get out of. Often happens on a shot like that.
Stephen Maguire.
Keep us informed of where you're watching, if you're enjoying, who's going to do well in these set of qualifiers that are left, and maybe who's going to win next week. Judgement Day, you can either tweet Rob Walker or myself, Neil Folds, and we'll try and give you a shout out. We're here for the duration. I was very much looking forward to it. You get the feeling it won't be long before Rob Walker is doing his first interview, because Jamie Jones is in again, and he only wants one frame to beat Leander Wimber. That might be quite a bit ahead of all the other games. But that was a remarkable scoreline yesterday, as Rob pointed out earlier. Didn't make a lot of sense, actually, that anyone could beat Leander Wimber or whitewash him in a session. But in a match like this, I think the first couple of frames are crucial. I wonder if he's left a plant. Well, he thought it was, but it wasn't on, I'm afraid. There's another fluke, but this time one for Faye. They both had a similar sort of fluke into opposite corner pockets. Was Angles McManus trailing 7-2, needs something to happen good tonight. Needs to happen soon as well. Against Jack Lisowski, very talented player.
Five. Wembo's back at the table against Jamie Jones, but Jamie leads by 29. Horrible position for a player to re-emerge to, one frame away from a whitewash. Jimmy Robertson's started well against Michael White, hoping to level that one up at 5 apiece. Daniel Wells was first into the balls, and the scoring against Liam Highfield, that one, we mentioned this a couple of times, that's the one between the two would-be debutants. It's been nip and tuck all the way through on table 6, and if any of these matches look likely to be going all the way, it's that one.
Yes, it looks as if Jimmy Robertson's going to win that opening frame. That's a match we haven't really, focused on all that much, Jimmy Robertson and Michael White. And no doubt, if it gets close, we'll be giving that a lot of attention later, especially if it does go 5 all and beyond, which seems very likely now.
Yeah, it's an interesting match, that one. Michael White's won the Paul Hunter Classic this season, quarter-finalist at the English Open, World Grand Prix. Quarter-finalist at the Crucible back in 2013. He took advantage of Debutante Poomjang's 10-9 win over Stephen Maguire. He would have met Maguire in the second round, but he did get the man from Thailand who used all his energy getting past Maguire in his own inimitable style, and then he lost to Ricky Walton in the quarter-finals. So he's had a good run at the Crucible, Michael White, but he's in a real battle with Jimmy Robertson, who looks like he's just about got over the line to level it up. Michael White would need significant numbers of snookers.
I can tell you that Steve Maguire there missing that red, as you saw. There's a bit of pressure on it, had to get it, didn't get it. So Faye, with the kind of start he wanted, a good chance to score. The ball's very well spread. Chance to make 65, 70, something like that would take him over the line.
This is what Dominic Dale would call an orchard of reds.
Yeah, well, it would be. Certainly, everything's in the middle of the table. Oh, 1 or 2 safe reds, but by the time they came into play, the frame would be long since over.
7.
Couldn't have been much fun for Lian Wenbo coming back today 9-0 down. He had to sleep on that scoreline overnight and return today. His opponent wanting one frame, but I'm afraid that's snooker.
That's such a grim scoreline to try and come out and turn around.
It's a grim scoreline to wake up to the next day, isn't it, when you are 9-0 down and you have to sleep on it. And so, you know, McManus was 53 points down against Jack Lisowski, but he's actually in scoring there. We will start looking at other tables quite soon. At the moment, we're just staying with the fight to see how far this break goes. It might be worth having a look at Alan McManus's table, because he's got a real chance to win the opening frame from a long way behind. The setup of the ball suggests it's worth going over to that table. That is table 2. You'll see what I mean when you get there, because I've got a peek at the table now. It really is perfect for a comeback in the frame. And that's what we'll be doing all evening, going from match to match,
16.
picking out as much as we can that's happening that is significant. We've seen some very significant passages of play. We saw the controversial foul given by the referee yesterday in the Adam Duffy game. We saw the roar from Alfie Burden earlier on at 8-all. We saw a bit of controversy with the referee putting the scores on the wrong player, and someone coming down from the crowd who referee threw out in one of the other games. It's all been happening. But this would be a nice start for McManus, especially coming back into the frame in the way that he would need to.
T4.
Yes, there have been quite a few matches coming into today that were poised at 7-2 overnight. We're due a comeback. The likeliest contender this morning for turning round that deficit was Mark Davis, who came out with a break of 136 and then followed it up with a 120. He made Joe Perry work very hard for that 10-7 win.
Didn't he just? I like the way that Stuart Carrington finished as well, from 8-all. 1-4-1 break and then another sizable break to win the match.
Yeah, 1-4-1 when you're 8-all in the third qualifying round for the Crucible. That shows composure and class.
Well, Alan's still got to do this here, but
30.
he's held the spot deliberately. And if this goes in, it's hard to see him not clearing up.
31.
You know, I think Alan's quite a dangerous player from the point of view of he knows that his finest days are behind him. He's very comfortable with who he is. He's got a great future in commentating and doing punditry, which he enjoys. I'm not saying he doesn't care about what happens out there, but he's got a perspective on these big matches that younger players haven't yet arrived at, because
39.
because they're still hungry for every single victory. And I think that's one of the reasons he had that incredible run to the semis 2 years ago. I mean, that was extraordinary, making the one table setup. I think that was at 2016. I think he first made the one table setup in something like 1992.
I think, yes, I think the last time he got to the semi-finals.
Yeah, back to back, didn't he? 92 and 93. And then to do it again in 2016 is incredible.
I think we looked it up when he got there 2 years ago. He'd actually beaten me in the quarters that year to get to his semi-final. That was the last time. And you know, I'm long since retired. There was many years between it. And of course, he beat the likes of Ali Carter. He beat John Higgins, Steve Maguire, all of those good players, top players. John Higgins, especially, to get to the semis, and gave a good account of himself against Ding Junhui. Of course, they were both qualifiers that year.
I think for all those reasons, Jack Lisowski would not have been taking this second session for granted at all.
Alan's not happy with something there, the equipment, but it's sorted out now. By the way, Maguire got in that frame. We saw Vafai at the table, but Steve Maguire's got in and he's won the frame basically. He's at the snooker's required stage, so he's adding to his lead. That one only just made it.
Knocked on the door a couple of times, didn't it? To use a John Virgo expression.
46.
Zhao Guodong, of course, won the first frame of the session as well. And Jamie Jones, we're on Jamie Jones' watch at the moment. He's a few in front and at the table against Wembo. Staying with this clearance for the time being because it's quite a crucial one. And that's a great shot. And Alan is going to steal this frame by the looks of things. He was not going to miss this, and it's frame ball. It's very good. So well done, Alan McManus. Trailed 53-0 and has won the frame. Might have to nip to table 3, I think, and find out if Jamie Jones is on the brink. Well, not quite, because he's eventually broke down, but we need to stay with this because always nice to get the handshake at the end of a match in, and I think it might not be far away.
Well, just to bring you up to speed on another couple of results, or another couple of frames, Liu Hao Chan has added 1 frame to his lead over Rory McLeod, so the would-be debutante is now 8-2 up against the Highlander. Zhao Guodong is also even further in front of poor old Adam Duffy. Zhao Guodong is on 9 frames. Adam's at the table, but Zhao Guodong is 9-1 up, just a single frame away from making it through to his 3rd year at the Crucible. So Zhao Guodong going very well indeed. Jimmy Robertson and Michael White is 5 apiece. Maguire now 7-3 up on Hossein Vafai. And here's Jamie Jones bidding to become the first man to make it through in this evening session. Ryan Day and Peter Ebdon still in the very early stages of their opening frame. Still 6-3 to Ryan.
Just a message as we watch Lian Wenbo miss that long red from Jero Warman, who's following Judgment Day closely here in Duluth, Minnesota, USA. Working hard with a question mark. Glad you're enjoying the game. John Siegler is watching from Hilton Head Island, wherever that is. I could look it up, but I haven't had a chance to.
Peter Ebdon's at the table against Ryan Day. He's on a break of 32, but still plenty left on the table for either player to take the frame.
5.
I think 1 or 2 of these matches will be coming to a conclusion pretty soon.
I'm finding out from Snooker Valley that Hilton Head is in South Carolina. It did say I should have known that, but thanks to Valerie for that. And know that you've been watching all day as ever, which is always good. Orion is asking where Welsh ref is. That's his Twitter name. That's Paul Collier. Well, he's okay. He's here. He's just designating the work to somebody else, which is a sign of someone who's high up, isn't it? Get someone else to do the refereeing.
11.
He's more in an administrative role. Anyway, Jamie Jones from Neath has got a great chance of going through here. 3 Neath boys in action tonight. Michael White and also Daniel Wells, all from the same part of the world. All went to the same school, apparently. And I've been asked if we are going to get over to the Peter Ebdon game. Well, we certainly will. But we are at the moment just looking at the
18.
finishing touches to this match, which seem to be almost upon us. It's putting Lian Wenbo out of his misery actually at 9-0.
Peter Ebsen's at the table against Ryan Day. He's on a break of 49. Going well, trying to reduce that deficit to 2 in their first frame, which is still ongoing.
I don't really expect this to last much longer. I've got a feeling Wenbo's ready for the handshake here. No, he's actually carrying on, so I got that wrong. But, well, how do you like it? 9-0 down and 3 snookers in the next. I'm afraid it's not happening.
Well, there's comebacks and there's comebacks. Zhao Guodong's in the balls against Adam Duffy. Duffy still leads in the frame, but there's no doubting that Zhao Guodong fancies getting that one finished quite soon, so we could end up having 2 out of the 8 finish in the first hour that we're on.
And Zhao Guodong does speak some English, so he'll be okay for the interview. I'm not so sure should Liu Hoshan win, what his English is like. I don't think it's all that, but I guess we'll cross that bridge later. Well, that's it. That's the concession. And this really was the most unexpected whitewash, I think, of the snooker season. Jamie Jones 10, Lian Wenbo 0. So one of the well-fancied players in the draw has gone out in a big way to Jamie Jones, who's back at the Crucible, of course, a former quarter-finalist. And well done to him. And he'll be in with Rob very shortly to tell us how he did it. But for now, he is the first man through, and it's taken him about 20 minutes tonight to convert that into a 9-0 into a 10-0 victory. Well done, Jamie Jones of Neath.
Well, I think no sooner have we seen that, I think we need to get over to table 7, because Zhao Guodong is in the balls and closing in on joining Jamie Jones in the draw tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Yes, he is, especially where the balls are, Rob, you're absolutely right. And of course, the only frame he lost, it was actually a frame where it went to the black and he played a safety shot, went in off. So this could have already been a whitewash, but it's not. And Adam Duffy of Sheffield still not going to play at the Crucible. I'm sure that's a huge disappointment to him. Had some good results, but in this match, it's not really gone his way. Well, this is almost over. So 2 very quick victories today, has to be said. I don't think the other games are going to be anything like as quick. The Daniel Wells Liam Highfield game is still in the opening frame of the day. Yes, Kelvin Platten has said that he finds that 10-0 result extraordinary. Astonishing, actually, was his words for Jamie Jones, but it happened. And it's the glorious uncertainty of sport. We should get a result so easy as that. Anyway, just seeing this match almost to conclusion here. Might just be able to get this match done. Well, we certainly will now. Before we get to the interview, we'll see this match over. And it'll be a tremendous victory for Zhao Guodong. Of course, played at the Crucible before. Extremely dangerous player. He's been in a ranking tournament final before as well. So, you know, he's had his moments, although the Crucible has not really happened for him yet, but he's got a chance for it to happen for him this time. He's the only player who's got the initial X ever to have played at the Crucible. He's played in 2014 and he played in 2017. the snooker here. Had a very easy victory against Ryan Day last year, 10-4. Losing to Selby, 13-6. Handshakes all round, it's over. Adam Duffy had a good run, the man from Sheffield, but not good enough to get to the crucible. It is the man from China, Zhao Guidong, the second man of the evening through, and the 10th in all, with a resounding 10-1 victory. He goes into the draw tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Who will he play? Well, he's had wins over a lot of top players, including Mark Selby this season. So with 2 matches through, the first was Jamie Jones, and Rob Walker has caught up with Jamie Jones, and we can hear from the Welshman now.
So gone. Jamie, yours is probably the most surprising result, not necessarily because you've won, but a whitewash against Liang Wenbo. When you bear in mind how well he played in the first 2 qualifying rounds, it's an extraordinary performance and a crazy result.
Yeah, even crazier for me, really. You know, just sort of went out there, tried to play well. And in the first session, I really did. I don't think I've ever played better, you know, and just put him under so much pressure. And I knew sort of 9-0 up, you know, I can fall over the line, you know, but I still wanted to get it done because I had a scare in the last round from 9-1 up. Udaloo come back to 9-7, and I got over the line, you know. So, I know it can happen. So, you know, just got to get over the line in the end, yeah.
So how did you make that switch over then? Because you did have a few nervous moments as Udaloo was grinding out frame after frame. And you did say in your interview after that match, you kind of fell over the line a little bit, really. What was the change then, struggling against him and suddenly coming out against Liang Wenbo, who in playing terms is probably part of the 16 for what he's been producing this season? How did you switch that around? I
played great in the first session against Udaloo, you know, and then I lost a couple of dodgy frames and he came back at me. But I've never felt pressure like that. I've never had someone coming back at me so strong, you know. So I was under so much pressure against Liang. Then I just felt like I was practicing. I felt like, you know, oh well, you know, I'm happy to be here. Just enjoy it really, and played great. Yeah.
Now, some people say that you're a little bit of a streaky player. That when you're going well, you really do get in a groove. And a great example of that was making the quarterfinals on your debut. And here you are, you're back in the hunt, and having dispatched Liang Wenbo, you know, 10-0, a whitewash, no one's necessarily going to fancy taking you on because you are obviously in a bit of a vein of form now.
Yeah, I mean, if you can win the 30 frames up here to get through to the Crucible, you must be doing something right. You know, a few of the guys are going to be coming in a little bit cold, shall I say, and, you know, I'm raring to go, so I'm looking forward to it.
Are you heading home now once you've fulfilled your media commitments?
Yeah, head home now, look at the draw tomorrow, and then get back on the table, I suppose.
Any preferences?
I wouldn't mind playing Ronnie.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, I know, but I've never played him, so yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'm playing well, so I'll see what happens.
Oh, I love it. I like the confidence. Most people, they come in here and they say, oh, as long as I don't get Ronnie or as long as I don't get Selby and I'm playing at 10 o'clock Saturday morning, you're saying any name, bring it on.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm playing well, so let's see what happens and let's go for it.
Fantastic. Well, very well done. An early finish for you after doing all the hard work yesterday. Well done, and we'll see you in the draw tomorrow.
All right, cheers, Rob. Cheers.
So, Jamie Jones is through. Fantastic performance. Thanks very much, Jamie. As he makes his way off to do his other media commitments, we will bring in our second player to get through, Zhao Guodong. Please come on in. Zhao, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, a tough first session for Adam Duffy. He'll feel a few things didn't quite go his way. As far as you're concerned, a really good victory, and you could have ended up getting drawn into a 10-6, 10-8, 10-9. You've got over the line nice and smoothly there today. It's an early finish for you.
Maybe I just lucky because when I play me a 3-player, yeah, everyone don't play very good, so I get it easy. I know everyone is good player, yeah, but sometimes you play good, sometimes you play bad. I'm lucky just this time.
Well, yeah, you say lucky, but you've come through 3 qualifying rounds. And it's such a special place, the Crucible, isn't it?
Yeah, I just don't think about when I play the game, when I play every shot, every player, just think myself, yeah, I just concentrate for every ball.
And is there anyone, we've just heard Jamie Jones say that he'd quite like to play Ronnie. Are there any players that you'd like to avoid, or are you just quite happy to see anybody come out of the hat?
Yeah, I'm happy to see everyone because now you cannot try, because top 16 player, everyone is good. Everyone got tramping. So I play anyone. It's okay. I'm happy to that.
And you've got an early finish tonight because some of these matches might well end up lasting very, very late into the evening. So you can relax now. You do a few media commitments. I know Ivan Hershevitz, the press officer, is waiting to take you away for a few chats to the press. But you can get to bed early, have a rest. Will you watch the draw, or are you going to wait for someone to send you a text message tomorrow at 10 o'clock?
I will watch the draw. Hopefully I'm no play first day because I'm play 3 days already. No, 6 day. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully, maybe play after second day, third day is okay. Yeah.
Well, we'll await to see what happens in terms of the draw. Many congratulations! A very comprehensive win. You're back at the Crucible, and we'll be delighted to give you a big reception when you walk down the stairs. So good luck and well done.
Thank you.
2 down, 6 to go. Let's rejoin Neil in the commentary box. We're edging towards completing the names of the men who will be in the big draw, which will be live at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you, Rob. And great to see Zhao Guidong back at the Crucible. Of course, he won a match there last year. He got through to the last 16, lost eventually to Mark Selby, but he beat Ryan Day along the way for 10-4, which looks a very good victory the way Ryan's been playing this season, doesn't it? Anyway, that's that. And Jamie Jones, having got to the quarterfinals on debut in 2015, he also played there without any success, lost to Neil Robertson. But they're back for another bite at the cherry. Incidentally, while you have been away, if you like, and while those interviews are taking place, Jack Lisowski knocked in a century to keep his lead against Alan Angles McManus. Liam Highfield won a slow opening frame, so he's got a bit of daylight between him and Daniel Wells now. 2 frames. Lu Hushan 8-2 up and looking like he'll be through, and that'll be another debutant if he makes it. Jimmy Robertson has come out very well today, and he's 6-5 up over Michael White. 2 very attractive players against each other, and we'll be having a look at that a bit later on. Where should we head off now? We did promise a bit of Ryan Day, Peter Ebdon, so maybe we'll have a look at that now with Lu Hushan going well. We'll look at his match later, but table 8 I think we'll go for. See what's happening there between the former world champion, the 2002 champion Peter Ebdon, against Ryan Day, who was a seeded player last year, as we heard, before losing to Zhao Guidong.
Peter Ebdon got one back at the very start of the session. Feels strange, only 38 minutes in, and we already have 2 men joining the 8 from this afternoon session in that draw. Zhao Guidong and Jamie Jones. Incredible whitewash against Liang Wenbo. Liu Heo Chan is in again, by the way, on table 10 against Rory McLeod. Resumed 7-2, got a quick frame, and it's looking ominously good for him. That would be yet another debutant. We're guaranteed a debutant in either Daniel Wells or Liam Highfield. These are the kind of challenges and positions that Peter Ebdon absolutely relishes. No problem coming from behind. He's a hard man to break down. The veteran former champion from 16 years ago, and made the final in 06 as well when he lost to Graham Dott. Good record at the Crucible, Peter Ebdon.
So Peter Ebdon, he's the kind of player who will never give in. And sticks in my mind the first time he ever did this, Rob, this whole Judgement Day a couple of years ago. He was 9-3 down against Gerard Green. Gerard Green actually, not only did he lose, it was about 2:30 in the morning, but it put him off the tour. He's back on now because he got back on through Q School, but that was just evidence that Peter Ebdon never gives in. Hossein Vafai won frame 11. Trail 7-4.
17.
I remember that match. I wasn't there for all of it, but it's a kind of scoreline. You just know that Ebdon relishes those situations. He almost thrives off being under that much pressure because he knows that somehow he can grind a result out from that position where most others would have at least one frame of weakness, which would give the opponent
23.
just enough to get over the line. But that must have hurt. 10-3. Such a 9-3. Such a huge, huge deficit, and to lose your place on tour as well.
Well, I'm sure it did. It hurt, and it would have been late at night as well. And that's Ebdon for you. Makes things very tough. Liu Hushan really is marching away with that match. He's going to be leading 9-2 against Rory McLeod, and we know that he's a really kind of tough match player as well, McLeod, but been thoroughly outplayed against Liu Hushan, who when he was 6-1 down and 9-5 down against Martin O'Donnell, I'm sure he never in his wildest dreams thought he was going to qualify.
So we're going to have 4 debutants then. Well, assuming Heo-chan, he's going 9-2 if he manages to get over the line without McLeod coming back at him.
31.
That would make it 4 debutants because we already knew we'd have a guaranteed 2 with Highfield or Wells. And then the winner of Wakelin against Jian Peng Fei. Wakelin took that one 10-1, very comprehensive. And then Tepchaya Unnu beating Alfie Burden in that fantastic match. So all of a sudden, from thinking that we're only going to get 2 debutants, there could well be 4. Liu Heo-chan is just 1 frame away. He'll be the youngest player appearing at the Crucible this year, that's for sure.
Got an interesting tweet actually about the rankings, just to let you know. I know we're at the World Championships now, but just looking at this, Peter Stevens, I think I have read this somewhere else. Interesting subplot in the rankings. If Liu Hushan wins, he goes up to 64 in the world, pushing Oliver Lyons out of the 64, which puts him 4th on the 1-year list. Hopefully he's catching up with all this, but it will actually push Sam Craigie, who is currently 8th on the 1-year list, off the tour, which is a shame because Sam Craigie is a tremendous talent. So he'd have to go to Q School. So that's unfortunate, but that looks like it's going to happen.
Well, no disrespect to Rory McLeod, but you can't really, the way that Liu Heo-chan is turning the screw in that match, you can't really see McLeod coming back from 9-2 down. By the way, Hossein Vafai, 7-4 down. He's at the table on a break of 52. Michael White's on a break of 56. He's hoping to 57 now. Well, he's edging towards levelling that one up at 6 frames each.
That's the point about the debutants. We might be seeing 4, but that might not end there. You know, Vafai's not out of that match yet, as you say, so he could conceivably be another one. We're not going to get one in the McManus and Lizowski match, whoever wins it. And both Jimmy Robertson and Michael White have played there, so it could only be 5.
Vafai's break has broken down, which would give Stephen Maguire an opportunity to come back to the table. And apparently Hossein Vafai received a warning from the referee because when the break broke down on 52, He smashed his cue on the table. We saw Alfie Burden doing that yesterday. And today, instead of whacking his cue on the table at times, Alfie Burden, who, if you missed it, did really well to battle back to 8-all. He was 7-4 down. It looked as though Tepchire Unnu was running away with that match. And although he did win in the end, Alfie Burden made him work extremely hard for it. But just losing his cool a little bit, the Iranian against Stephen Maguire. Jimmy Robertson needs snookers in that latest frame against Michael White, so it will go 6 apiece. Really good match, that one, and it's being played quite quickly. Liam Highfield 6-4 up on Daniel Wells. 35 the advantage.
And talking of debutants, we had 4 Crucible debutants in 2014 and 2015. 5 last year. 2016 was the sort of slightly dull year on that regard. Only one new one came through.
I love introducing the debutantes. It's really special for them to come out for that very first time.
Can be quite jelly-legged when they come out.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah, of course. It's a big deal, isn't it? It really is, and that's never changed. It's no different now to what it would have been a good while ago when I first played there. My first match there was against Alex Higgins, so it was a baptism of fire. But yeah, it's a great feeling, and it's what a snooker player would dream of. Just trying to remind myself who in 2016 the only debutant that year was Mitchell Mann, who sadly had to pull out of his match against Ryan Day when he was way behind.
Peter Ebdon loves these matches and these positions. 6-3. Ryan Day needing snookers. All of a sudden, 6-3 becomes 6-5, and we've been playing for, or they have been playing for less than an hour. Back on at 5 o'clock. We're staying here until the very last of the 8 qualifiers have booked their place in the draw tomorrow at 10. This has been an excellent start for Peter Ebdon in this second session against Ryan. And remember, in Ryan Day, we're talking about someone who's won 3 tournaments this season, 2 of them ranking titles. He's won Riga, Gibraltar, and the Romanian Masters. Coming right back to his best, Ryan Day, but Peter Ebdon, who's bidding for a 25th Crucible appearance, which will see him tie Jimmy White. He is not to be underestimated.
Well, this frame is 1. Obviously, Ebdon might go on and make a century. I'm just wondering, because there's so much going on, whether we could have a look at Jack Lisowski, who's absolutely in full cry at the moment. He lost the first frame from 50 behind. And he's on table 2, and he's playing Alan McManus.
78.
I don't normally break when someone's in the middle of a score like Ebdon was, but the frame was 1. Lisowski is just galloping away with this match. He's not played the best of shots there.
31.
But he's played beautifully again today. He's a delightful player. He's a great prospect. He's got to put that to good use now, I think. Ebdon breaks down, the frame's over. Lisowski running out of position more and more.
38.
Liu Hao Chan is in. He's on a little break of 16 in what could be the last frame of that match against Rory McLeod. McLeod facing a mountain there, 9-2 down. Hossein Vafai is now only 2 frames behind Stephen Maguire. And I'm pretty sure at times yesterday he was 4-0 down. So he's coming back into that match.
39.
Oh, just to break in briefly there, Rob, that was an outrageous fluke. The red just trickled into the left corner. And Lisowski can keep the break going anyway. I mean, I know he'd have been snookered behind the green, but McManus probably won't come back to the table now. No, but you're right. You know, he's coming back into that match, and that doesn't surprise me.
I'd imagine one of the biggest factors in that match is whether Maguire starts getting annoyed with himself.
Well, it wouldn't take a lot for that to happen, as you know. But sometimes with Steve Maguire, the more annoyed he gets with himself, the better he plays. You know, he sometimes uses it to positive effect, I think.
Unlike most of the other players, I spoke to him in the. We're allowed to use the tea room in there for a brew, make ourselves a quick tea in between the two sessions. He said he's definitely staying tonight, and he'll watch the draw in the morning and then assess whether he goes back up the road for a couple of days or whether he stays put if he's on Saturday. That is, of course, if he comes through this match.
Well, when you live up in Glasgow, I mean, it's, in all seriousness, it's, you know, it's a lot of commuting, isn't it, to go home late tonight, possibly coming back either tomorrow night or Friday morning. What's the point? It's different if you live an hour away or something. So he's probably doing the right thing. If he was playing on Monday or Tuesday, then he could go home tomorrow. But he doesn't know any of that at the moment. No idea what he's doing. Well, the break comes to an end, but the frame is also over, and I think McManus will probably concede it anyway. And Jack Lisowski's inching his way through to a place at the crucible.
And I tell you what, it's been a good start by Liam Highfield against Daniel Wells. 5-4 they resumed overnight, and all of a sudden he's taken 2 frames and he's extended that lead to 7-4. Daniel Wells has got a little bit of work to do there. He's on a break of 45, but he's miles clear in the frame.
And the frame.
Highfield. So, just to let you know, Alan McManus stays in his chair, and now he's within a frame of going out. He'll be working on commentary on this championship, but not playing any further part in it, I think, as a competitor by the looks of things.
Yeah, Lisowski within 1. Liu Hao Qian is also within a frame, and he is at the table at the moment, lead of 13. Highfield, as I said, is now 7-4 up on Daniel Wells. Ryan Day just has a 1-frame lead. We'll keep a close eye on Maguire against Vafai. 7-5. If suddenly that goes 7-6, it starts getting very interesting indeed. Jimmy Robertson and Michael White is very tight. That's 6 frames apiece. So why don't we, whilst we're waiting for 1 or 2 of the other frames to kick into life, why don't we have another little look at table 10, which is McLeod against Liu Hao Qian, because Hao Qian is at the table now, and all of a sudden he's 19 points in front.
I mean, if you've
never getting closer.
You've never seen him play before, you'd assume that he was even younger than 20. But I can tell you, it was 6 years ago he got to a ranking tournament quarter-final, would you believe, when he was 14. Lost in the international, which was a big tournament then, still is, but and he lost to Neil Robertson. Not played a good shot there. He played really nicely yesterday, I thought. And it would be a big deal for him to play at the Crucible, because he's based in Sheffield like so many others. Saw him marching in earlier on, all ready to play. Yes, he's 20 years of age. He does look younger. And of course we have numerous younger players than that to play at the Crucible, but it would bring the average age down for the season quite a lot. He's the youngest player left in the tournament, and you can see from that shot that he's a good player. He's a really clever little match player as well. He's not all pot, 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 you know. He seems to be able to mix it.
20.
I mean, even the last shot he played, he's trying to keep the break going with a long red now, but he's just playing really nicely. Look how well he struck that. This match is as good as over. I think if he's coming in, there might be the need for Victoria, who runs the academy up here, to do a bit of interpreting. I don't think he speaks a lot of English, or if any, so that'll be a bit of fun, but it'd be good to hear what he has to say.
It would. We are going to try and get hold of Victoria. He's played a lot of snooker, certainly in the first 2 qualifying rounds. Fang Zhong Man, he beat him 10-8 and then came back from 9-5 down against Martin O'Donnell to win that one in the decider. This one a little less laborious in terms of the number of frames, so hopefully He won't be quite as tired as he would otherwise have been if he'd been dragged into an absolute marathon against McLeod.
No, but he broke down there and he went out of position. It was the shot before that was the problem. He didn't get on the black very nicely. He tried to stun through the reds, open the reds up, but forgot to get perfect position. I don't know how much fight Roy McLeod has got left in him. He's so far behind in this match now that you feel it's only a matter of time. And long matches do that, you know, they take away your spirit a little bit. If you get a long way behind, we've seen best of 25 frame matches at the Crucible finish with a session to spare on a number of occasions because it's so difficult, you know, to not lose heart. A couple of messages. One from Fan147. Hi guys, do you think the crowd is too close to the players on this venue? Amazing coverage and work. Thank you for that. I don't think they're too close. I think maybe it looks that way, but there's a bit of a gap between the front row and the edge of the table.
They're certainly not as close as they are at the Crucible. That's arm-tappingly close for those who are sitting down to the right or left of the players' seats. McLeod is looking for a little bit of a stay of execution here. Jimmy Robertson and Michael White extremely close, 6 frames apiece, and there's only 7 points in it at the beginning of their 13th frame. So it's looking like a real epic there between the man from the south coast and the Welshman.
We've got a tweet from Sean Murphy. He's got a picture up. He's discovered the YouTube app, and now he's got the snooker in every room in his house. Now I don't know if he's been flashing saying, well, I've got a lot of rooms or what, but he's got it on in every room, he's saying. Every TV in the house. He's got it all. It's all kicking off in Murphy Mansions.
Well, I tell you what, I'm liking the cauliflower there. So it's a very healthy looking dinner that he's in the process of making.
Well, yeah, who knows? He might not be eating that. That might be for show. We don't know that, do we? He might be going out to get a burger or something.
Nah, no way. He's getting ready for the Crucible. He's not eating burgers. He's getting his cauliflower ready.
Well, McLeod missing that shot, and that's been the story of how he's played. You know, he's not really ever got into this match. And Lou has just got further and further away from him. You can see the disappointment. He looks unlikely to be at the Crucible, because last year he beat Judd Trump there, but, well, I think that scoreline speaks for itself. 24-31 will be in it after this shot. A red and a high value colour. And Liu Shan will be in the draw. And I guess, look, I think he's a really fine player, but if you're a seeded player, you'd rather play a debutant than a Maguire or a Ryan Day. Of course, none of those are actually through yet, or even perhaps someone like Matthew Stevens, who's played there before, Joe Perry. But who knows? Debutants have won there before. You know, a lot of debutants have gone and won.
Well, there'll be 4 of them coming out. Chaya Unnu, Chris Wakelin, either Highfield or Wells. Highfield leads 7-4. He's taken the first couple of frames of that one this evening. And Liu Hao Qian. So 4 men will be walking out there for the very first time. And if Hossein Vafai produces a huge comeback against Stephen Maguire, there'll be 5 debutants. Maguire leading 7-5. He was, remember, 4-0 up at one stage, 6-3 overnight, but Vafai has started very positively today. This next frame's a big one in that one. 7-5 becomes 7-6, or Maguire re-establishing that 3-frame advantage. So it's a big one at the moment for those two. It's only just started. We'll probably look in on that quite soon. And we'll be hoping to use Liu Hao Qian's manager, Victoria, to get a few of his thoughts ahead of what will be his World Championship debut.
At the moment he's in a snooker, and of course McLeod needs just the one snooker. That's well played. He's almost forcing him to pot this red now. As you pointed out, Liam Highfield has put another frame on the board there, so that's 7-4. Match we thought was destined to go close, and it still might, but he's kicked away a little bit.
Still only 7 points in it in the 13th frame between Jimmy Robertson and Michael White. 6 frames apiece.
Well, that could be handshakes. He seems to be carrying on, but it's because he's going nowhere now. That not going in, it means he needs more snookers. Apologise to Sean Murphy. He said he was shocked you accused me of eating burgers. I didn't say that. I said I just wonder if it's all for show. Anyway, frame and match. Liu Hushan, 20 years of age. He's through to play at the Crucible Theatre. That's what dreams are made of. Of course, he dropped off the tour a couple of years ago, and now he's back. He's only 20, and he's a terrific young talent. A real good snooker brain. And 3 hard matches, and in some ways, as we've said, this was his least difficult assignment. He had some tough games earlier on. Anyway, he's through, and well done to him. All congratulations to Liu Hushan. Plays at the Crucible Theatre in the 2018 World Championships.
Yep, four debutants guaranteed now. Jack Lazowski, 9-3 up against Alan McManus. Why don't we go back and have another look at table 1? Hossein Vafai against Stephen Maguire. He's come back into this one 7-5, and he's in the balls at the table. And look how well the reds are spread. Well, if this is to somehow go 7-5 to 7-6, it starts getting very, very interesting indeed. Maguire's still in front by 2. But Vafai is not hanging around.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that much. He was close to getting through last year, losing to Tom Ford. And
13.
Anyone on the tour who's seen him play and has played him will realise he's a very dangerous player indeed. Now, we will be hearing from Liu Hushan very shortly through an interpreter, and indeed Rob. But we keep an eye on this match for the moment. It's an important shot, this, queuing over the top of a ball.
Seven. 18.
Beautiful player. I always think sometimes his bridge hand is very close to the balls, to the cue ball. But everyone's got their own way of playing. Well, just watch this shot. Then you see what I'm saying about Fine. After this shot, we are going to hand over to Rob Walker. Liu Hushan, the most recent qualifier for the Crucible. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Neil, and his comprehensive victory means we're now guaranteed 4 debutants, as you can see there, Hossein Vafai at the table with a chance to reduce that deficit against Stephen Maguire to just a single frame. But Liu, we've got Victoria, his manager, here to help with a little bit of translation. Many congratulations. He's going to be at the Crucible for the first time. I know he doesn't look too excited, but I'm sure he must be.
他说你第一次打进克鲁斯堡，看上去你好像没那么激动。
感觉，其实感觉，一开始就是，其实打进克鲁斯堡是比较有信心的，然后赢了当然很开心，但是，感觉自己的状态还不是最好。
He said, yeah, he's really excited. He's quite confident, you know. But now, he doesn't think he played his best. He will try his best.
And what about the comeback against O'Donnell? Because that was a phenomenal performance from 9-5 down. He must have a lot of mental strength to come back in that match because he looked out of it.
他说你当时5-9落后，你就第2轮的时候你落后那个马丁奥达尔，那你当时，而且当时看你没有感觉你是一定要回来的那种感觉，你是怎么样转变的？
They could be having a completely separate conversation here.
因为9-5落后的时候状态很差，就是很多简单球都打不进。 但是我感觉如果自己可以通过一两盘，可以赢一两盘，可以找到手感的话，就觉得自己有机会翻盘，就是这样。9比5那盘，其实我还是很多简单失误，但是9比5、9比6之后，我打的就比之前好了一点。
He said when he was 5-9 down, he was thinking if he can win next 2 frames, then he might put pressure on his opponent. So he just tried his best. When he was 5-9, he played not good at all. But then after 6-9, he feel better, get better and better. Yeah.
Well, he's had a fantastic run. And just finally, thanks for your help with this, Victoria. Are any of his family going to come over to watch him at the Crucible, or are they watching on TV? You know, he's only 20. It's a huge occasion for him and everyone who's helped to get him there. Is he flying anyone over using a bit of his prize money?
他说你现在20岁，打进克鲁斯堡。他说到时你家里人会过来吗？
不会，他们会在中国在电视上看吧，在一些平台上面看。
No, yeah, they were watching on TV. They will support him. Yeah, I'm sure they are super proud of what his achievement, a debut for Crucible.
And just finally, as he is going to walk out for the first time, we need a nickname for this guy. Has he got any preferences?
他说他现在要给你，因为他每次就比方，什么小灰啊、dragon 啊什么的，还有
dragon。
他说你有什么呀？你觉得自己，因为他到时要介绍你入场克鲁斯堡。
这个我不知道，看他想怎么介绍我就行。
It's up to you.
Oh, that's a big honour. Tell him I'll try and come up with something between now and whenever he plays.
Yeah, 他说他会尽自己最大的努力。
Well,
he's a little bit shy. Yeah.
No, that's okay. We'll get him out of himself. The crowd will love him. They'll give him a great reception. Well done. Okay, thanks very much, Victoria. Great work. Right, I'm sure there are a few other media commitments, so Victoria will need to help Ivan Hershevitz, the chief man in the press room. Right then, 5 matches still to come to a conclusion. Let's rejoin Neil Folds in the commentary box. Judgment Day continues to pour on the drama.
It certainly does. And congratulations to Liu Hushan. I wonder who he'd like to play in the next round. We never quite got round to that, but it's he didn't look very excited, but he is, no doubt. And so he should be. Should be very proud of himself. Seeing the possibility of you doing another interview quite soon, I reckon, you know, because we could probably nip over to see Jack Lisowski. Well, actually, saying that, for now, we should probably go to table 1 if we could. Just watching Maguire. Is he going to clear up with 2 reds left and win that frame? And then we're watching Lisowski for further down the line. So he's turning into an important possible clearance here. We were on this match before, so it's right that we stay with it. Somehow it's all gone wrong for him there. Got a little nudge on the red. It's not potable. Good to see a new player playing at the Crucible, isn't it? You know, sometimes you see someone like Liu Hushan there. It's hard to, get a gauge of how he's feeling, but inside he must be elated.
Oh, especially coming back in the manner in which he did against Martin O'Donnell. That's phenomenal. From 9-5 down. Looks like he's going home, and he comes out and then beats Rory McLeod, who arguably produced, I think that victory over Judd Trump last year was one of the biggest shocks in recent years. Not just last year, but I think it resonated among the big standout news story performances of the last 3 or 4 years. So to beat him, the man who beat Judd Trump last year so comprehensively at such a young age, that's a great performance. And obviously you lose a little bit with the language barrier. Victoria's really helpful, and he's probably a little bit shy anyway. But for debutants, I said this already, Neil, I love introducing the debutants because it is so special for them. And the crowd at the Crucible are always really receptive. I think they appreciate and understand the relevance and the significance of a player coming out there for the very first time. They all get a big, big reception, even if the person coming out after them, which is always the case with the seeds, even if it's a Ronnie O'Sullivan or a Sean Murphy or a Mark Selby, you know, one of the popular players, their applause is almost as big as it is for the favourite because of the context and the fact that they realise it's a wonderful occasion.
I actually read on a website, so I'm guessing it's true, but I read on a website about Liu Hushan when he played at 14, got to the quarterfinals of the International. Then he came over and he found it tough, you know, living away from home, living in a different country as a 16-year-old, 15, 16-year-old. Then after a couple of years, he dropped off the tour and gave the game up, you know. And I read that his schoolmaster encouraged him to start playing again, and he'd stopped playing. And this is a boy that's 20, so he's got a longer history than you think, because obviously snooker's what he's good at. He encouraged him to start playing again, got back on the tour. I can't remember if he got on through Q School or whether it was an Asian tour card that he picked up. And here he is playing at the Crucible. And he's only 20, so there's been a lot of water under the bridge already for him.
There certainly has. I know this is a key frame between Hossein Vafaei and Stephen Maguire because Maguire's trying to just re-establish his dominance here. We've got to get over to table 2. Lazowski's just about to finish off against Alan McManus.
Yes, it ties in nicely with that tweet on there, so we'll nip over to that other table now. Like you say, this might be a crucial frame, but that is going to be the last frame, I think. And red colour. And this is a very good result, as we all know how difficult Angles McManus is to beat. But really, he's been absolutely put in his place here by Jack Lazowski, who has promised a lot for a long time, but he's starting to deliver that promise. And he's had a difficult time of it as well. Don't forget, he became very ill as a 16-year-old. It's very seriously ill.
That's right.
And had to pack up playing, had to have chemotherapy, all of that sort of stuff. So we're not talking about a minor ailment, which he mercifully, thank the Lord, recovered from. And it's taken him a while, you know, to get to this level, but he's played the Crucible before. He's not the finished article yet, but I'll tell you what, he's starting to, as I say, live up to not so much the height, but the immense talent that he's always had. He makes the game look very easy. Sometimes players that make the game look easy don't always, you know, they maybe put in the hours. I'm not saying that's the case with Jack, but you know, players that haven't got all the talent have to work very hard. And
7th.
Jack is doing very well here, and this is an extremely good result. And I think he'll be in our studio very shortly by the looks of things. Lovely lad as well, really like him. Nice family. And they should be very proud of how he's performed here. I think you're seeing the point I'm making, how easy he makes the game look. You know, he just points the cue, pots the ball, gets through the ball beautifully. All the things it's hard to do, he makes a mockery of, really.
Much better player than he was when he lost to Barry Hawkins in the first round in 2013, having come through the last qualifying round against Fergal. Old 5-ton Fergal. And this is a nice clearance with which to finish.
It is. It could be another century. He's already had one in this session. Although, I don't know if he can put this to the middle, probably down the end. Well, it does go in the middle. What a shot.
And by the way, I'll be heading out shortly to interview Jack. Peter Ebdon in the balls with a chance to level at 6 apiece. Remember, they resumed with Ryan Day leading 6-3. And all of a sudden, within what? An hour and 15 minutes of play, Peter Ebdon may well be levelling the match. In the meantime, Jumping Jack has done the business against Alan the Angles McManus. A fine win for Jack Lazowski, who will have a second chance to prove what a good player he is at the Crucible. He will be in the draw. Alan McManus will be there as well, but in the commentary box rather than walking down the famous stairs.
Yeah, really good performance. And he's always going to be an attractive player to watch at the Crucible, whoever he plays.
Ryan Day has indeed been pegged back to 6 apiece by Peter Ebdon. He just loves these challenges, Peter Ebdon, and he is not going away. Neil, I wonder if we ought to go back to this really, really big frame between Vafai and Stephen Maguire on table 1.
Yeah, let's
Only
do it.
4 points in it, and they're down to the last 4. These are big, big moments here.
Yes, and we'll watch that as we wait for our interview with Jack Lazowski. We're waiting for Jack to come in. It is a huge frame, as Rob is still saying, and I absolutely think he's right as well. Great shot, good contact made there. And that was from Maguire. You feel that if it goes 7-6, it really is anybody's. 8-5 just keeps the balance quite far away, 3 frames between the players. Great pot. So let's see this frame to conclusion before we speak to anybody. Adam Snooker Info is saying that Jack Lazowski for me is one of the most naturally gifted players in the game. He's seriously up there with the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan. What do you think is his downfall? Well, hopefully there isn't he hasn't got a downfall. He's still on the learning curve. Thanks to Ron Pilkington for some good comments. Anyway, for now, Vafai has got to the point where there's 13 in this on the pink and black in his favour. Duke Duchess is saying that the greyhound should be Liu Hushan's nickname. It's the Chinese year of the dog, and he's both slim and fast. So yeah, fair enough. And Adam Lamley says he rates Vafai, a great prospect and a character too. I think that's true. Going to finish anywhere here. What an outrageous fluke.
6.
What an outrageous fluke. And you saw Vafai just flinching in his chair, couldn't believe it had gone in. But he's missed the black. Can you believe it? It would have been to tie the frame anyway. Well, you've got to take advantage of those flukes. This is quite tense. This is the fluke. Just avoided the double kiss and pulled it into the yellow pocket. Well, the tension is insurmountable here. It feels like a huge frame. We will be speaking with Jack Lazowski, but we have to stay with this match, I think. Now we're down to the final ball. As long as Jack can hang on for a little while. Well, we've got a respot with that, ladies and gentlemen, and what an important one it is. And to be honest, okay, Maguire was lucky on the pink, but Vafai did have a shot at the black. He's furious, but he should just keep his concentration up. He's still in there with a chance of winning this frame. There's no point in shaking your head when you've still got the final tiebreaker black. This was the fluke.
Your choice. Yeah.
He nearly got a double kiss. He just avoided it by nothing, and you can see him in his chair how enraged he is. So normally it's cushion to cushion. Black on one side, cushion, cue ball on the other. Well, he could play the cocked hat double here, which would send the black ball close to the right middle. That's a possibility from here. If he hits it full on, I think it's the kind of shot he wouldn't be far away from getting if he goes for it. Deciding not to. The trouble with the shot he's played, of course, you leave your opponent a pretty good first chance to put distance between the two balls. That's pretty well played. So this feels a huge passage of play in the context of this match. Never had a player from Iran at the Crucible before. If Afai wins this frame, he's still very much in the match. Not so much if he loses it. And that's a bit weighty. It's not an easy shot, but you feel that Hossein Afai is very likely to give this a go. This is the last frame before the mid-session interval, and you feel that it has a lot of importance to it. What's happening here? Something under the table causing you a problem. Well, he's overcut it by a long way. Oh, he's nearly gone on in one middle pocket. Whew, nearly in off in the other one as well. It doesn't look a particularly good shot, but I think the cut to the top right pocket is harder than it appears from that camera view. Again, he might have the shot to push it round the angles. He's going for the pot, I think. He's certainly having a look at the potting angle. Hard to think that if you miss this, you could see it going safe. Well, what a brilliant pot. What a frame to win. On a respot, Hossein Afai has pulled one back, and it's 7-6 in favour of Stephen Maguire, but Afai wins the session 3-1 and everything to play for when the players resume in around 15 minutes' time. We'll take a breath, and Jack Lisowski is with Rob Walker.
Well, yet another player through to the draw. 10 o'clock tomorrow is jumping Jack Lisowski. And Jack, you continued the good form that you showed against David Grace in the second round.
Yeah, I was very happy to beat someone as good and experienced as Alan. Happy with my performance over the 2 days. So yeah, looking forward to the Crucible now.
I guess, you know, you can never take someone like Alan for granted, especially, you know, on the second day, because although he's under pressure after your good form yesterday, he's got so much experience. He's been to so many big semi-finals, and recently as well, because he proved that, you know, there's life in the old dog yet with his good run to the one-table setup a couple of years ago. So you're never totally over the line with him, even though you did bring a commanding lead into this concluding session.
Sure, yeah, he's a really classy player. Like I said, he's got a lot of experience, so I expected him to kind of come out against me strong tonight, and he made a great clearance in the first frame, and I thought, here we go, but then I'm pretty sure I fluked to red in the second frame in the evening and managed to make a break there, and that kind of settled me.
How much of an advantage do you think it is that you've been to the Crucible once before? And okay, you're a much better player than you were a few years ago, but you've been there, you've got the debut out the way, so you know what that reception is going to be like, and you know, you're just familiar with the arena and the whole media circus that comes with being part of the World Championship.
Yeah, it was even though it's sad, it was a good experience the first time out, I guess. It's something you got to kind of go through to get used to it, and I'm sure this time, obviously I know what to expect, but I guess until you've kind of won a game there, you're never really that confident.
How much better are you than you were those few years ago?
Yeah, I think I'm much better. My all-round game's come on a lot. I'm not as patchy, a little bit more consistent now. So yeah, I think hopefully this time around I can handle it better.
Do you think you'll enjoy the occasion, or are you going to be too focused on trying to win that first match?
Yeah, I'll definitely be. I'll be trying to win it. I think if you kind of from what I learned, if you kind of try and do anything different to what you normally do, it kind of throws you. So I've just got to treat it like any other game and, you know, give it my best shot. All the players I'm possibly playing are top 16, so they're as good as it gets. So it's going to be tough, whoever I play. So hopefully I can just get stuck in and kind of get some form going.
You're heading home now, so hopefully, unless you're out 10 o'clock Saturday morning, you'll be having a little bit of a break. What's your approach with the draw? Because we've had 50-50. We've had a whole load of guys coming in here and saying, I'm not interested, I'm going nowhere near it. Someone will send me a text, and others are saying, I'm definitely watching it.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. Hopefully I can avoid Judd, Ronnie, Selby, Higgins, Murphy, Bingham, Allen, all those guys. So, you know, there's not really anyone you want to play, but it'll be fun. It's fun to watch when you're in the tournament. I can remember it last time. And it's just crazy getting your name called out after watching it for so many years.
Well, you'll be in it for the second time. Very well done. Great qualification. We'll see who comes out the hat for you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Well done, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
So Jack Lisowski is through to his second crucible. Let's get straight back to Neil. There's still some spots up for grabs. Judgment Day drama continues in earnest here at the English Institute of Sport in Sheffield.
Indeed. We might nip over to table 6 for the first time so far tonight. This is the match that we thought would go close, but it's not quite going that way because Liam Highfield and Daniel Wells both failed ever, or have yet to play at the Crucible, I should say. And Liam Highfield is starting to pull clear now. He's won all 3 frames tonight. Beg your pardon, he's won the first 2 frames tonight. This is the third, and he's in front in that one. If he went 8-4, then he really is looking good. There's a lot of places we could have gone. Obviously, Peter Ebdon doing well. He's won all 3 frames tonight. Ryan Day was considered as tough as anyone, and you can understand why that he would do that, because he's won 2 ranking tournaments this season and an invitational.
Oh, it's a nightmare start from Ryan's point of view. It looks like Peter Ebdon. There's a long way to go in this 4th frame before the mid-session, but he's taken 3 very, very quickly. And he's at the table looking good in the 4th, now on a break of 29. You just cannot write Peter Ebdon off. He's trying to close in on a 25th appearance at the Crucible.
Yeah, and what Ryan Day didn't want to happen tonight was for Ebdon to get his claws into the match, and that's what he's done. Now, he wanted it to be staying within 3-4 frames of him, and you know, on that basis just keeping his lead, and that's not happened. So now you know you're into a scrap, and that's when Ebdon comes out usually on top.
It's the kind of occasion that's made for him. 6-3 down, not fancied to do the business against a player, as you said, in cracking form. Ryan Day, many people said, is one of the best players never to have won a ranking title. He's suddenly done 2 in a season, had a 3rd title as well. It's been arguably the best season of his career. Coming in here as one of the favourites along with Stephen Maguire. And while Stephen Maguire is not behind in his match, he's certainly been dragged into a proper contest after that respotted black. Hossein Vafai was dead and buried in that match early on, but the Iranian is very much in that contest.
That's got the makings of a real cracker. This match, we're just keeping an eye on this. These points are starting to mount now. Oh, he hit that one, that's good. 23 points in favour of Daniel Wells. Wanted to get a little look on this match because we haven't done it so yet. We haven't actually looked at the Michael White game either, and that's also another one that's building up nicely. All of that will be coming your way. We can assure you of that. We'll get you as much as we can. We've had quite a few finished, so that kind of makes our options a little easier for the remainder of the evening.
Yep, only 4 spots left. Michael White 7-6 up, and he's at the table with he's got a lead of 18 points in the 14th frame. That really has been nip and tuck, that one. Peter Ebdon could be taking the lead in this match. Well, he has done, not in frames yet, but 6-all. He was on a break of 36. That's come to an end. And it would be a mighty handy time for Ryan Day just to settle in that match, well, in this session of the match, and maybe take the last and get himself back in front, albeit by a single frame, as opposed to the 3 by which he led at the start at 5 o'clock. just an hour and a half ago. Amazing how quickly these matches can change, Neil.
Well, certainly. They are long matches, but as you say, things can turn around. We've not really seen very many comebacks, have we, in this round? Obviously, we know that Liu Hushan made a great comeback to win his previous match, but most of the matches, the person who's led has gone on to win them. The nearest thing is the Fafai comeback. Anyway, there's lots of mileage in that match still. Peter Ebdon broke down and led by 36 points to nil, and Ryan Day just potted a red and a black.
That could be a big moment for Ryan. Obviously a mistake there by Peter, so it gives Ryan a chance just to kind of steady the ship a little bit, having been pegged back to all square. So many times Peter Ebdon manages to do that. This frame, by the way, has lasted an eternity. It's been 7-4 for, what, at least 25 minutes, maybe more.
It's been a long old match. Warren Pilkington, superb pot from Bafai and 7-6 to Maguire at the mid-session, mashing the balance. We'll be back on that match soon. They are at their mid-session break. Thanks, Warren, for that. Keep the tweets coming in. A lot of you are watching and enjoying. We know that. And why wouldn't you? It's a bit heavy-handed, that shot, I felt.
Peter Ebdon's mistake allowed Ryan Day in, and Ryan's now replying with a little break of 23. So he's still behind in that frame, but he's at the table for the first time in a while. Jack Lisowski over the line, 10-3, Alan McManus. Jamie Jones, a whitewash against Liang Wenbo. Xiao Guo Dong just conceded a single frame against Adam Duffy for a 10-1. And Liu Heo Chan has knocked out Rory McLeod 10-2. Those are your winners this evening. 4 spots left here on Judgment Day evening. (7-6) Maguire leads Vafai. 7-6 Michael White leads Jimmy Robertson. 7-4 in this one. And 6 apiece between Ryan Day and Peter Ebdon. So some pretty close matches developing here. This one, Neil, you suspect will come down to who can manage their nerves better when they get very, very close to the winning line, with neither of them having been there before.
No, but that's true. I agree. I thought that, but when you think about it, you know, if he goes into a 4-frame lead, it's a very big lead, and if anything would calm your nerves, it would be that. But he's missed that one, Highfield. Might nip over to see Ryan Day at the table, I think, frame 13 there, because he's 36-0 down. He's gone in front. Let's go to table 8, because that's moving at pace, that match. And I think this is a bit more like it. We'll have a look at this. We do owe you a bit of Jimmy Robertson and Michael White, but we'll do our best to show that as and when it's possible. But Ryan is at a crucial stage here, and he needs this frame. Mid-session interval follows. He needs to be back in front. He'd hate to have lost all 4 frames.
Ebdon's been doing what he does best, and he's right back in this contest. 22 points in it in that
47.
12th frame between Daniel Wells and Liam Highfield. Highfield leading 7-4.
Ryan Day 47.
Ryan Day in front. And now he's left Peter Ebdon with plenty to think about here. Whereas it's up until now, it's been the other way round in this little mini session. Still going all those years later, Peter Ebdon. Made the quarterfinals on his debut back in 1992. Complete with ponytail. That's worth a little look on YouTube if you fancy looking at his old music video. I'm Just a Clown. Stephen Maguire and Hossein Vafai still haven't resumed. Andy Lamley says, I really rate Vafai, a great prospect and a character too. Just going on to the nicknames. Ryan Day picking up some useful points there. Duke Duchess says, what about this for Liu Hao Chan, the Greyhound? It's Chinese Year of the Dog, and both are slim and fast. Might come back to you on that one.
The red didn't move.
No, when I played the shot, that flipped the black closer to the cushion.
Yeah. A bit more?
And I don't think the black, the red will go past the black.
Yeah.
A little bit of a discussion there with Olivier Martil and Ryan and Peter. It's a torrid situation for Ebdon to try and get out of. He was nowhere near on that occasion. Jimmy Robertson, by the way, on a break of 33. He's now got a slender lead over Michael White in the 14th frame. Trails 7-6, so that would be to level things up. Problem for Peter Ebdon here is that there's a tendency for the foul to come on the black, so 7 points every time he's making a mistake. Still a bit of a stalemate in that 12th frame between Daniel Wells and Liam Highfield. Highfield still leading 7-4. It's been going on a long time. Now he's trying a different way round the table. Well, at least it was only 4 points that time. And now Ryan will look to finish this frame off. And if he does so, there will be a little puff of the cheeks from Ryan Day, having lost 3 quick frames and 3 really costly frames as well. And this should Barring some excellent work on snookers from Peter Ebden, this should be Ryan over the line. So he loses this mini session 3-1, but crucially for him, I think, in taking the last of those 4 frames, he just stops a little bit of that Ebden momentum and re-establishes, albeit a slender, lead. Good work with that snooker behind the yellow. It all helps get you over the line. I think he needed this frame, the Welshman. Good little clearance in the end there, just to take that one. 6:57, that'll be the time they resume. Stephen Maguire and Hossein Vafai have come back out, by the way. Let's head over to, haven't seen much of Jimmy Robertson against Michael White. So let's head over to table 5 as Jimmy looks to draw this match level at 7 frames apiece. Don't worry about the graphic, it is Jimmy Robertson. Oh yeah, here we go. Jimmy Robertson.
Always felt that he hit that a little bit on the thick side, but it might well be enough. There is a snooker required, so that is another thriller. And Michael White's had a couple of close matches already this week. He played Chinese player Nu Zhuang, and he was way behind. He won 10-9. Incidentally, a few people have been asking about the ESB qualifiers, tour cards here. Of course, saw Andy Hicks here earlier on. Just give you a brief update. It's all happening in the same arena. It's not in the World Championships, but George Pragnell and Jamie Clark 2-all is the match that people were asking about. Best of 7. There's a way back on the tour for some of those guys. It's all going on in the same arena. Anyway, enough of that. This is the World Championships, and we're looking for a few more players to go into the hat tomorrow.
Maguire's come out, by the way, in this 14th frame for them after their little mid-session interval. And he's gone into the ball straight away. Little break of 23. That would settle him down if he could re-establish 8-6 as opposed to 7-all.
I was going to say the ball's actually really good for getting snookers in this frame, but Michael White went for the pot there. A little surprised. And if this goes in, I think we can move away onto a different table. Jimmy Robertson already past the point where his opponent can win. Okay, so that will be 7-all. We'll be rejoining that match soon. Where would you like to go? I think it's
why don't we go back and have yet another look at this incredibly long 12th frame between Daniel Wells and Liam Highfield over on 6. They've got really bogged down in this one. Let's see how the balls are looking.
Oh, where have they gone?
Well, it's been so long. They've gone off for a comfort break. So I tell you what, whilst we're waiting for them to return, that's how long this frame is lasting. Whilst we're waiting for them to return, let's go back to Hossein Vafai against Maguire on 1. Maguire was on a break of 28, but it's just come to an end.
That's like the Marie Celeste, isn't it? Where everyone just deserted it. There's nobody there. The referee stayed, which is kind of good. She hasn't gone as well.
So Maguire's break broke down, but he's now back at the table. Jimmy Robertson, 7 apiece. Nip and tuck that one.
That's a very good pot under pressure. Can do a lot with it.
1.
He is good to watch, Maguire, when he's under pressure because he's ballsy, isn't he? He's not afraid to go for big shots.
Well, he's a quality player. Of course, he's been a semi-finalist in the World Championships. I think, was it 2007, the year that he could easily have won it? He certainly got involved in a very long match.
Yeah, he's made the semis twice, 07 and 12, and the quarterfinals 3 times, 2008, 2009, and last year.
Well, he lost an epic against John Higgins in 2007, didn't he? And that might have been the year, if he was ever going to be world champion, that it could have happened.
That was it. Wasn't that the year that John beat Selby in the final? 07.
I'm going to relive that now. I do remember a very long semi-final between the two of them. Yes, John Higgins 17-15, and you're absolutely right. It was John Higgins, Mark Selby in the final. 18-13 to Higgins. Selby could have won that. You forget how long Selby's been around, don't you?
Yeah, then came the, that great run of Masters victories for Selby. When we were at Wembley, he had some epic matches against Ronnie. I remember one final between the two of them. There were over 2,000 people there. It was a huge amount of noise. Wembley was an interesting one, though, because I think in history terms it was huge for the Masters, but on a practical level, even with 2,000 people there, it wasn't absolutely packed. Whereas with Ali Pali, you've now got, what, I don't know, 15, 16, 1,700. And almost every session, if it isn't packed, is extremely atmospheric because it's nearly full.
Do you mean the conference centre or the arena?
The arena.
Yeah, no, that's right. I don't think that was as good a venue as either the conference centre or its new home, and I think I always thought that you'd never match the conference centre. Although I have to say the Ali Pali, I've been really impressed with the last couple of years. Terrific venue.
Stephen Maguire 6.
It is good, isn't it? Because also, if you, on a practical level, it's really hard to get to Ali Pali because you're not necessarily within striking distance on the tube like you are with Wembley. If you're driving from West London, it takes ages to get there. There are not that many hotels in the area, and yet it is a brilliant venue and is nearly always full.
You wouldn't often be driving past it, put it that way. It's on your travels, would you? But anyway, yeah, it is a great venue. It's getting better by the year, I think. This is going to be you feel this match could go very, very deep. I know that Maguire's still in front and he could go 2 up. As far as that other match, the good news is both players have returned. Wells and I feel that they haven't disappeared off the face of the earth, never to be seen again or anything like that.
I haven't got a clock on that frame, but it has gone on for a very, very long time.
Might see if we can get someone to find out how long that frame has been. We've got our best man on the case.
Ryan Day and Peter Ebdon are off for their mid-session 7-6.
You get the feeling it must have been a long frame for both players to disappear like that. I mean, we came back there and there was nobody there, just cues on the table.
I love your analogy here, the Murray Celeste.
Yeah.
What were the theories with the Murray Celeste?
I don't know, it was just a vessel, wasn't it, that just, when they found it, nobody was on there. I don't know exactly the reason for that. Just a deserted ship, wasn't it?
That is so eerie, because you'd have thought if it was boarded by pirates, you'd think that they would, once they've killed everyone and chucked
dead bodies,
once they've chucked them over the side, and then nick the ship.
Well, mercifully, that match hadn't been taken over by pirates. The players are back now. That would have been worrying, wouldn't it? In the middle of a match, pirates come and then, take the players away. Anyway, that is a long frame. It's been a long couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit sidetracked here. Tales of the Murray Celeste. How we've ended up going down that route on Judgment Day is a little bit odd. But shall we just? Daniel Wells has just potted a ball. Now, I think we ought to go and have another little look at table 6, just to see whether that frame is gradually moving towards a conclusion. It really has been going on for such a long time. Highfield 7-4 up. It was 5-4, so he took 2 frames pretty quickly, but they've really got bogged down in this one.
And you kind of knew it could happen as well. He's looking at the scores, but they haven't changed very much for a good while.
52 minutes so far.
Well, I mean, don't forget we saw a 2-hour frame last year, so this is nothing, didn't we?
5-ton Fergal and poor old Dave Gilbert, the angry farmer.
Where were those 5 tons again?
I can't remember, but it was in the. No one had done it, had they? So it must have been in a best of 9.
I think it might have been in the UK best of 11, was it? But you're right.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Incredible.
And the alliteration just works so well with his Christian name. Yeah, 5-ton Fergal. It was incredible. They had to start bringing us food to the commentary box, didn't they? I think we had a chicken katsu curry.
Yes, that was all during one frame. Anyway, we better stick with it now. This is incredibly long. Steve Maguire's leading 37-0 against Hossein Vafai.
He's back in the balls as well, Neil, so that could be significant. Michael White's on the beginning of a little break. He's gone 2 reds, 2 blacks. Ryan Day and Peter Ebden yet to re-emerge after their mid-sesh. Simon Dunnan asks a question here. I think you should take this one. Who do you think is the hungriest player to win the Worlds this year? But surely they're all hungry.
Well, I think the answer to that is usually Selby. Anyway, that's this frame. I mean, he didn't play to knock the blue out there because he doesn't actually need the blue. Liam Highfield, he needs this brown, and that'll be another frame on the board as long as it's taken, doesn't matter.
Oh, Tony Proctor has confirmed it was that 5-ton Fergal was the UK, and it was against Barry Hawkins, 2016.
Adam is asking if the scoreboard had crashed in this game. No, it hadn't. But it's coming to an end now. This double going in will certainly seal it. Yeah, well, it continues for a bit longer. It is 1 snooker. But while it still could be a close match, he's getting away from him, isn't he? At possibly 8-4. We should remember that.
Yeah, especially, as you said, if he does actually lose this one, he needs 1 snooker. They've both invested so much time in this frame. He's not prepared to walk away, and quite rightly so, when it is just 1 snooker required. Maguire's broken down again, by the way. Vafai's in on a break of 13. But let's stay with this one, just to see who wins this marathon. Not even close to tickling the feet of that 2-hour epic between 5-ton Fergal and Dave Gilbert. This is still quick in comparison to that monster.
Someone has actually tweeted and said this is what's like watching paint drying, this match. And just,
that's a bit harsh.
It is a bit. Lawrence Drew said that.
That is a bit harsh because they need to remember. You need to remember the context. Neither of these players have been at the Crucible before or got anywhere close to being this near.
No, and Liam Highfield of these two has done the best as a pro, and he's a good player. And like you say, I think that this match could have a very interesting end to it. But either way, there's going to be a story of great delight for one of these two.
Right.
Anyway, I think we can leave this frame now anyway.
Finally, the score is going to change. It's going to be 8-4. So Highfield's just beginning to turn the screw a little bit there on Daniel Wells after that frame that was lasting almost an hour. Let's go back to the fight against Maguire on table 1, because Stephen Maguire was the first in. He had a break, I think, 33, broke down, got back up to 38, and look at this. Vafai's at the table again. Yes, he trails by 10. He's on a break of 28. This would be to level the match at 7 frames each. Bearing in mind early on, he was 4-0 up, but
34.
Not happy with that. No, I don't think he's on either red somehow.
Touching ball.
That is amazing. I don't think he
can he not get on that one down the rail?
Well, he looked absolutely like a broken man, didn't he, when the balls came to rest? What he can do if it's touching is he could conceivably get in behind the green here, providing he doesn't move the red in doing so. It's a little bit like Alfie Burden is Hassan Vafai, in that he will get really pumped up for this match. Now, can he get to this red? Now, if it's touching ball, the red that he's close to cannot move. Jan Verhaas is onto it. Looks tight, doesn't it? Well, it was a perfectly legal shot. He had us all going there, didn't he? 'Cause he really looked like totally destroyed when the balls came to rest.
He was crestfallen, wasn't he? Hand on the table.
That's a great word. You're absolutely right.
I'm not sure where that word comes from. It's so random, isn't it? I don't know where that came from. Sorry. Crestfallen.
Well, it might be Maguire who's seemed to be crestfallen because
41.
He thought that from his reaction he wasn't on the ball, and then he knocks it in. Oh, brilliant shot.
42.
I tell you what, this is some player, and I heard a lot about him from the first time I was alerted to how good a player Hassan Vafai was. It was actually Ronnie O'Sullivan that mentioned it. Told me he'd seen him play a lot, and he's very, very good. And he's had a difficult life, living in Iran, wanting to play snooker, not always been easy.
47.
It's not been straightforward, not a snookering nation.
It's a great story if he makes it, isn't it? A great story. I think the media might pick up on that, and not just the media who follow snooker.
49.
I think that's a story that perhaps transcends snooker. Long way to go in this one. Maguire, you think, with the reputation, still the favourite, but he is
52.
right back in this, and we still have the possibility he would be the first player from Iran. He would make it 5 debutantes.
Yes, well, at 7-all, he can definitely
56.
win. It's best of 5 now. He's somebody that had visa problems trying to get into tournaments around the world because of the country which he represents.
61.
But all he wants to do is play snooker, and he's getting the chance. And I tell you, this is going to be some match from now on in. Stay with it, please do.
67. And the frame. It's over.
So 4-0 up, Stephen Maguire. 6-3 overnight. All of a sudden, we're 7 apiece.
Didn't he take those well? The last couple of reds were not easy, and he just kept potting. Great match.
Jimmy Robertson is on a break of 65. Let's head over there and have a little look. He's almost finishing that frame. It's table 5. Jimmy Robertson about to take the lead. It's been so close, this one. Nip and tuck all the way. Jimmy down to the colours now. And this will take him 2 frames away from another appearance at the Crucible. Most of the way through this match, it's been Michael White who's had the edge, but this is Jimmy now moving in front once again. Ryan Day, by the way, is on a break of 22. Remember, 3 on the spin from Peter Ebdon. Ryan took the last before the little mid-session to re-establish a 1-frame lead, and this is him coming back out with intent. So he's on a break of 22. Jimmy Robertson about to take the lead 8-7. So good work from him. In fact, let's just see if he gets this one. This will take him. This will be a break of 96. Good work from Jimmy Robertson. So let's go over to the Ryan Day match, which is table 8, to see if he can build on this break of 23 and re-establish a 2-frame cushion.
Well, that's what he'll be hoping to do. And, you know, he was pegged back in no uncertain terms. They had the 15-minute interval. And now he's on track again. Nicely done. He's not really hit it hard enough, though. Surprised he never got up the table far enough to pot the red in the middle.
Ryan Day, 38.
Well, Peter Ebdon will battle all the way for the remainder of this match, there's no doubt about that. And we know he has been known to be a little bit slower than some of the others, shot times wise. I know that he was into the 30 seconds odd per shot earlier on, but I think it's been played at a reasonable pace, actually. What a brilliant shot from Ebdon. A couple of tweets to mention. Adam Lambley has said that he hopes Jimmy Robertson gets through. Good break builder who can beat anybody on his day, and I think that's right. David Rowe, a former professional. Hope you're right, Rowie. He's talking about Iran and has a massive snooker culture. Well, I know there's a lot of players there, and I know the game's doing well. I know you've been heavily involved in that. But I was kind of more meaning that you don't consider Iran as a hotbed of snooker, but I understand that the game is doing very well. I know you've played a part in that. We haven't seen too many players from that part of the world, of course. There are 2 Iranian players on the tour, Sahal Vahidi being the other one. A little bit of a scruffy shot there. Ebdon, as I say, he will just keep going. He's frame behind. He's well and truly in this match still.
Someone sent in a tweet here. Apologies if you've already answered it, whilst I just stepped out the room briefly. Have you answered this one? Aaron Graham. Oh, in fact, you wouldn't have done because he's only sent it to me. Do you remember who your last match in the World Championship was against? In brackets, it says it was a qualifying match. He's just having a a quick bite to eat, Neil.
Yes,
so I'm sure
I know.
he'll come back. Oh, he's back
My
on.
last match was against Leo Fernandez. And at the Crucible, I lost to Dave Harold in my last match. 15 years ago. Yeah, 2003 was my last match. Well, he's just finding an angle here on his next colour to open the bunch up. It's not a very wide bunch of reds to hit. It's worth keeping an eye also on other games, including the Jimmy Robertson situations, 8-7 up there. Anyway, Ebden's playing around 2 cushions here into the bunch. He's got to hit this very accurately. Oh, it's a great effort. Well, he could have been luckier with that than he was. So much to see. I wonder if we should nip over and see Jimmy Robertson's table, table 5, because he's clearly in, but to what extent, we're not sure. On a break of 38, trying to go within a frame of a place at the Crucible. Here we are, table 5 it is. Yes, he's in, and it's still a good chance on a colour.
Interesting tweet from Andy Lamley about Jimmy Robertson. He says, I hope Jimmy gets through. Really good break builder who can beat anyone on his day. And actually, Jimmy's record at the Crucible is an interesting one because he's got better each time he's returned. That might sound strange because he has lost all 3 of his first round matches, but not when I give you the context of the scores. 10-1 against Mark Selby in 2011. 10-6 against Fu in 2015. And then he pushed Mark Allen even closer, 10-8 last year. So, a little bit overawed perhaps on that debut against Mark Selby, but he's getting better and better each time he goes back. He's making the matches more competitive. And that's 3 pretty tough opponents. Selby, Fu and Allen, mind you. Any of the 16 are going to be tough, but you know he's getting closer to that first Crucible win.
He wasn't on the black very well, it was very thin, and he didn't reach, as you saw. So this is an important moment now because he's straight back in with an opportunity once again. Michael White at the moment really looks to be struggling to me. Keeping an eye on Vafai and Maguire. I'll tell you that Vafai's a few in front, but Maguire is at the table.
And in the battle of the would-be debutantes, Liam Highfield has definitely taken the advantage. He had a couple of quick frames and then came that 1 hour epic, and Highfield's at the table again looking to move within 1 of the victory. He's 8-4 up.
Well, Jimmy Robertson's just missed 2 shots in a row now. This is getting quite edgy, this match, isn't it? That very thin pot that he left over the pocket. Now what has Michael White got left? He's got to win this frame. He's got to get back on track. This was the shot. He's incredibly thin actually, but he hit it just a bit on the thick side to the top jaw.
Ryan Day is at the table. Ebden was edging back towards him. Ryan initially had a break of 38. Peter put 20 on in reply, but then broke down.
Michael White looks to be gone at the moment, you know. It's a terrible miss in the middle. He's really struggling. He's seen his friend go through, his great friend and travelling colleague, Jamie Jones. Getting nervy this one, but at the moment Robertson is marginally stronger.
Just about holding it together. You can see the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that for him is a 4th appearance at the Crucible and a chance to register his first victory. Always brings great support from the South Coast. Ryan Day on a break of 16. He leads by 34. 51 still available on the table, so he's edging towards frame ball, and that would be 8-6.
And Hector Nuns has actually put a tweet out talking about the Vafai-Maguire game, saying 7-all, having led 6-2 Maguire, and it looks to be a bit of needle out there. Well, I don't know, maybe, you know, Hector's words, and he might be right. It wouldn't surprise me, of those two.
Well, at the very least, it's going to be passionate, isn't it?
Yeah, you can bet.
I quite like players showing a little bit of emotion. Not if it gets to the stage of being disrespectful, but it's good to see how much they care about it. Maguire's break has come to an end. Vafai leads, but there's a lot of life left in that one yet. Ryan Day's break is now up to 33. Ebden needs snookers, so Ryan does indeed look as though he's going to re-establish a 2-frame cushion. Liam Highfield's in the balls, hoping to move within 1 of the winning line against Daniel Wells. They're edging closer to a conclusion, these matches.
Simon Denant has asked what's on our dinner menu tonight. Well, apparently there's not even any tea left.
Now they've run out of cups here at the English Institute of Sport. So breaking news.
It's not looking great, is it? To get anything else, is there no cups?
I've got an egg and cress sandwich we can share.
No, that'll be, yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Well, there's just signs of Michael White struggling now. He's wilting a little bit. Red colour, red wins the frame.
Ryan Day, 8-6. Liam Highfield is up in the 13th frame.
But Wells is at the table again.
Yep. I think he desperately needs this one, Daniel Wells, having resumed 5-4. He'd been really keeping the pressure on his opponent, but Liam Highfield won that 1-hour epic, and he's pulled right away. Surely if he goes 9-4, that's the metaphorical mountain for Daniel Wells.
7.
Stephen Maguire back at the table again. He's potted a red, but trails in that frame, and he's been pegged back to 7 apiece. Hector loves the spicy matches. I'm not surprised he's giving a little mention to that one.
Well, it's very unlucky not to go in, but it might well be enough to win the frame. And personally, I think we can assume that Jimmy Robertson's won this frame, and we could go over to the other match. I think the Vafai-Maguire match.
Yep, I think we should get back to that one.
Yeah,
Robertson's over the line. Let's head over to table 1 again.
Just in other news, Snooker Valerie seem to think that we've hit a wall. She put that up a few minutes ago.
Is that because we started talking about the Marie Celeste?
I think so.
Okay.
She may well be right. But this is a terrific match, and this really, if it went to 9-all, then the pressure would be unbelievable, actually.
on both of them for different reasons. Vafai aiming to make history for Iran. Here's whilst we're watching Vafai thinking about this shot, here's a tweet. I'm just an interesting talking point. This is from his username is called Yellow, Green, Brown, Blue, Pink and Black, who says, in this modern era, world qualifiers should only be 2 rounds, best of 19, followed by an extra round at the Crucible. Open it up to the top 64. What's your view on that one then?
Well, I don't think you can change the format of what happens at the Crucible, can we? 64 players at the Crucible, did I hear?
Well, that's what he said.
Or
the theory is that you do the two of the 3 so-called qualifying rounds here or at Pond's Forge, and then you do the last one at the Crucible.
Well, it already takes 17 days to finish, and you're basically putting another a lot more matches on, another 16 matches on. So it's already longer than the Olympics. I don't see how we can. I don't think Barry Hearn's going to stand for that. I'm just saying, that's my opinion on it.
So Ryan Day 8-6 up. This is Stephen Maguire desperately trying to re-establish an advantage in what has become a very, very tight match against Hossein Vafai from 4-0, 6-2. It's all square. Jimmy Robertson is 1 away from the line, 1 away from booking a 4th place at the Crucible. Daniel Wells and Liam Highfield, there's only 4 points in it in this frame, but Highfield is not too far away. So Daniel Wells is on a must-win visit, I think.
That was a tremendous pot, you know, the way he screwed back there onto the blue. This is a chance for him to take the frame. Just a Mark Wing, not Mark King, Mark Wing, and sent a message. He seems that I think he's responding to what Hector said. Great shot, by the way, Maguire. About a bit of needle here. He seems to think that every match that Maguire plays includes a bit of needle. This is his words. He competes with Ding for snooker's worst temperament. He will never be world champion. Strong words, but that's your opinion. Not tough enough mentally. Well, he could prove us all wrong here. I wouldn't agree with it. With your point, actually, I think he has all those things, but of course, there's going to be one world champion every year. There's always going to be good and great players that don't win it. Look at Jimmy White. Anyway, that's your view, and we thank you for that.
I think quite often he harnesses that aggression at the table and that determination. But it's so subjective.
40.
Ryan Day's on a little break of 15. Oh, how about that, Neil? For your info, the passengers and crew left the Marie Celeste because there was an exhibition match on between Eddie Charlton and Rod Lawler.
What, they went to see it, or they wanted to get it away from it? Which one? Anyway, this has actually been a very, very telling break. He's not there yet, but we need to focus all our attention on this now, because this is big if Maguire does win the frame. Started with a good red to the middle that he screwed back onto the blue, got it onto its spot. Not there yet, but you would think that the balls are at his mercy. And scores a level, so he needs up to and including the pink.
Tiny little fist pump 21. At the end of this frame, do you think, or not?
I don't think that's his way. I've not seen him do that. I've seen him punch the table when he misses one, but he doesn't do a lot when he pots one.
I remember when he did that in the match against Stuart Bingham, I think, for his 5th ranking title at the Welsh. He made a mistake and he hit the table so hard. Actually, that may have been in celebration, having got the frame ball. He punched the table
25
so hard I thought he was going to break his knuckles.
Of course, we know that Michael Holtz actually did break his knuckles. Someone's actually sent. We'll talk about it
30.
in a minute, because this is a very important shot. Anyway, this is frame ball.
6.
36.
Well
and
done,
frame.
Steve Maguire.
Stephen Maguire.
Just want to alert a few people out there as Maguire goes 8-7 up. Duke Duchess, which is Duke _ 147, has sent a picture. We can do a 64-man draw at the Crucible as well. And Duke Duchess has sent a picture of the Crucible with 3 tables in it. And it's worth having a look on that. I might retweet it. And that might help if you've not seen that before.
But
Now,
you'd have to completely reconfigure the venue
I
because there's no room.
No, well, I don't know. I think they put 3 tables in, but I don't think that either of the end tables, if you're up against the cushion, you won't have any rooms. You have to use one of them short queues like you get on pool tables in pubs.
Michael White 7.
Let's go over and have a look at Ryan Day on table 8 against Peter Ebdon. Ryan has got himself back in front, 8-6. He was at the table with a lead, but now it's Peter Ebdon, the 2002 world champion, coming back to the table. He really got back in this match, taking the first 3 of the afternoon to draw level at 6 apiece, but then Ryan's responded with the next 2.
I'll say one thing there, with Ebdon playing, he'd have to be very careful. The brown ball is in amongst the reds, and he's got colour blindness. And when the brown is in that position, he might ask the referee which ball is which down there. Because I've seen him actually hit the wrong ball before. He suffers from colour blindness, can't always distinguish the brown from the reds. And it is, as you can see from that picture, not easy to do so, but the brown is just below the pink spot. Just my last point on that, I don't want to dwell on this, but the Duke Duchess 3 tables in the Crucible, to me, if you're playing on the left or the right of the end tables, there's not enough room, is there?
I don't think so.
No, and it was all speculation because it's not going to happen anyway, but I'm just saying, I don't think you can get 3 tables in there on that picture.
It's already 17 days.
Well, it is, but you've got more tables, you get over with quicker.
Yeah, true.
Play all 128 players there. Take about 6 weeks.
Just the colours remaining between Liam Highfield and Daniel Wells. Highfield closing in on being 1 frame away from victory. Jimmy Robertson is in that position, 9-7 against Michael White, who looks like he's gone off the boil a little bit in that one. The former Indian Open champion and snooker shootout winner and Paul Hunter Classic winner this season.
Played a good shot there, got in behind the pink. And of course Michael White led overnight, didn't he? 5-4 as well, so it's a big turnaround. Just one more thing on Steve Maguire. Joan Stafford has said, I think this is very fair because it's true, that she had a long chat with Steve Maguire at the Welsh Open a few years ago, one of the nicest guys on the tour, and that is right. It's a little bit quite aggressive on the table, a lovely guy off the table. That is true.
Yeah, I like having a chat with Stephen. There's no angle, I think. I don't think he particularly enjoys doing the TV stuff. I think if you said to him you could play snooker, he does it when he has to, which is fine. I think if someone said to him you can play and you never ever have to appear in front of a TV camera again, I think he'd bite your hand off. He's not in it for the extra publicity. Chris Quinn says, a 64-man draw. Not sure O'Sullivan would want to rub shoulders with even more numpties at the Crucible. Question for you from That's a big old truck driver. Well, I'm assuming that's what the username is. It's so long, it's got the dots. Who's the best ball striker in the sport? He tells me who he thinks you're going to say, but I won't say that. I'll see what you come out with. Best ball striker.
Well, I would say there are a few. I would say Sean Murphy's up there. I would say, at his best, O'Sullivan, beautiful ball striker. And I'm going to come out with a bit left field. David Gilbert, beautiful hitter of the ball. He's been knocked out here by Alfie Burnham, lovely ball striker. He's not always the best player. In Gilbert's case, he's a very good player, but he's obviously they are better. Just the way they strike the ball, you know, with no effort. But I think Murphy still fits that bill for me. Is that who he thought I'd say?
No, I'm sure all those, well, you know the sport so well, they're all valid. This guy, that's a big old truck driver. Well, I'm assuming he's a bloke. That's a big old truck driver. Ryan Day, he says.
Yeah, well, he hits the ball beautifully, yeah. I still think the others are slightly better, but there's no bad ball striker amongst the top players, is there? I mean, I would think that you could say, obviously, I'm not kicking the man who's down, but Lian Wenbo, for a leading player, he doesn't hit through the ball all that well. You know, he moves a lot of moving parts. It's not because he was beaten 10-0. Really not for that reason. And I don't think Mark Allen has got the textbook technique, but when it's working, it really works for him. Fantastic player. And someone who could win the World Championships this year, actually, having won the Masters.
Oh, how good was that? How good were those speeches at the end of that? Kyron Wilson almost in tears. Great moment for him. Mark Allen, superb performance for Northern Ireland and for the sport. Someone who plays with his heart on his sleeves. Been really open about occasionally struggling with mental health issues. It was one of the most emotional post-match presentations
70.
I've ever experienced in the 10 years I've been helping out. I thought it was brilliant TV because they were both so honest, and you know, their emotions were there. And Mark's dad came charging in, gave him a big hug, went straight across in front of Jason Mohammed and gave Kyron Wilson a massive hug and a kiss on the cheek. And there was no angle to that. It was just all genuine. And I thought that was one of the most memorable ends to a final that I've experienced in 10 years of being in the sport.
Oh, it was terrific. Absolutely terrific game. And Kyron Wilson plays it tough, but he's an emotional lad. And he'll win a big tournament one day, a Triple Crown event. Now here's one. I don't think Rob saw my tweet earlier, but how do you both like the Beijing Beige King as Hushan's nickname? Yeah, it's okay. It's a bit long, isn't it?
It's quite hard to say. That's an easy one to trip up over.
31.
The Beijing Beige King. That
yeah,
you
that
could
could go horribly
You could
wrong.
definitely make a mistake on that.
Anyway, Ryan has won this frame.
Yep.
And he's now 9-6 up, so that's a great position to be in.
Right, Liam Highfield's gone to the mid-session, having taken all four, 9-4, so he's almost there. I think we ought to go back to Maguire and Vafai, because Stephen Maguire's shown real character to re-establish a one-frame lead. So let's get back over to table 1, where he's on a break of 35 at the moment. And by the way, Michael White, trailing 7-9, was on a break of 39 and then broke down. So Jimmy Robertson is only one away from the win, and he's at the table, although he trails by 38 in the early stages. Maguire is just beginning to get the upper hand here. Vafai has done brilliantly to come back into this match, but Maguire is starting to boss things a little bit here.
Yes, and he's very experienced, and he had a lot of close matches. He knows how to come through tight matches as well.
This
frame is not his yet. Might be, as the break of Ryan Davies goes on to 56. The frame is 1.
$51. 52.
52.
We'll stay with this one a little bit longer because he is
15.
so good to watch, Stephen Maguire, when he's in the balls. But I've got half an eye on table 5. Michael White leads, but Jimmy Robertson is at the table on a break of 20, trailing by 19. 67 on, and this could be Jimmy on a match-winning clearance here to take it to 10-7 for a 4th appearance. So just stay with this a little while longer. Liam Highfield and Daniel Wells are on their mid-session. Well, he'll certainly be ready for a big crucible match, Stephen Maguire, if he does indeed come through this challenge from Hossein Vafai, because he's been made to work for it and he's been made to produce some top quality snooker under pressure. He's been impressive in the last couple of frames.
He really has, but he's been there and done it. And the way that he plotted a very good red to the middle bag in the last frame, 3 reds left, screwed back into bulk onto the blue. And he's barely missed a pot since then, and he's had to raise his game. And it reminds me a bit of the way that Tepchaya managed to push himself
66
to the limits from 8 all and a few behind in the next against Alfie Burden. Because he played immaculate snooker in the last couple of frames there to win. And that's what Maguire is doing here.
73.
He's had to show his class, and he is. Right, this frame is over, so I think we need to get straight back over to table 5. Jimmy Robertson on a break of 35. He's now only 4 behind Michael White, but Michael White broke down on his break. Can Jimmy finish this match on this visit?
Yeah, and the problem is that there is that red along the cushion, and the issue there is that the black is not on its spot. So my point is that the bottom red is going to be hard to get on. He's not on the colour right here. But if there's the black is on its spot, you can roll the red and get on the black. But as I say, it's up the table. Just to say that the person who tweeted about 64 at the Crucible, having seen that picture that I showed, is now saying it could only be done if the tables were 6 by 3 instead of the usual 12 by 6. So obviously that's unlikely to happen. It's quite a drastic change to the norm, isn't it? Change the format and change the size of the tables. Maybe leave things as they are. I know he was joking.
I think there'd be an uproar.
Well, I think it could hardly have gone much worse, that shot. He snookered himself, I think.
Ryan Day and Peter Ebdon have gone off for a quick comfort break. Ryan has worked extremely hard to once again get himself 3 frames in front. Only now it's 3 frames in front and he needs only 1. They've just come back to the table. So Liam Highfield 9-4 up on Daniel Wells. Stephen Maguire now 9-7 up on Hossein Vafai. Ryan Day 9-6 up against Peter Ebdon. In all 4 matches left to get to a conclusion, we have 1 player within a frame of the winning line. So please keep your tweets and your thoughts coming in. We'll try and get to as many of them as we can.
Well, this will be replaced, and it's he obviously made his measurements in doing so.
Question here, Neil. I think we've kind of answered this maybe yesterday, but it's worth for those who've missed it. The midwife says, why has the start to the session been brought forward to 5 p.m? Is it a response to last year's O'Brien Gilbert Marathon?
No.
I think we started at 5 last year, didn't we?
Well, look,
or 6 maybe?
The first thing to say is that we've been playing 3 sessions a day all week, 10, 2:30 and 7. Now, the fact that we're playing 2 sessions, why we're doing the right thing, we're just moving the snooker into the middle of the day rather than, early and late. Simple as that, isn't it? It's 2 sessions now. So, I mean, it's the right time to get these sessions underway. We don't need to be here at 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, necessarily starting later than this. Could be a lot of snooker played. I think that's basically the reason.
Mike Dunn has sent a tweet. I'm enjoying watching Judgment Day, but I've got to be honest, the battle with Dottie has wiped me out. I can't keep my eyes open. I'll have a little look on catch-up tomorrow. Great effort from Mike Dunn. Contributed to a superb match.
If you're going to watch it on catch-up, we see that ball go in, and it's crucial that Michael White gets on that last red. It's a bit like when you still see football scores and say you have to leave the room now if they come on anywhere, so you've got to not know the score. Anyway, this is a very serious moment in the match, and Michael White has not really got a shot to get onto the last red, so it's pretty obvious he's going to play the snooker behind something. Just to say, Duke Duchess, people are saying the picture was photoshopped. Well, I think we knew that, really. It was just a bit of fun, the whole thing. We knew it was a joke.
A few questions going to Sean Murphy about whether they're watching the Octonauts in his house. Very important when you've got toddlers. Is the Go-Jetters in our house. Grandmaster Glitch, the cartoon character who's about a 75% Nigel Mansell lookalike. Anyway, enough of that. If you haven't got a toddler, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. Peter Ebdon's back at the table. He's on a little break of 15, trails 9-6, remember. Can Jimmy Robertson get over the line here? Maguire has the early lead in the 17th frame against Hossein Vafai.
Well, this is the dialogue between both players and the referee as to getting the balls back in the right position. The referee Marcel Eckhart on this game. He was very close to hitting it first time. He just slid past it now. This is... You're joking. He's missed it. That was by...
Oh!
Something belonging to a gnat. He missed that by.
That must have been a millimetre, surely. Ebdon's on a break of 21, by the way. Stephen Maguire now up to 12.
Well, he really was close to hitting that, and these points are pretty valuable. He's got to come really close to the middle pocket. I'm wondering if the shot is on, because he almost hit the jaw of the middle pocket, and that's the problem here. The reason he's missing it is because he's coming perilously close to the middle bag. The only other way you could hit this is play it the same way, hit it with more pace, and that might make the cue ball just square off the cushion and come wider and hit the red. But then, of course, when you do it that way, you've got no idea where the red's going to finish. Can he see it after all that? Well, this is amazing, isn't it? He could see it all along. I think that was what the discussion was about. If you could see it all along, why on earth wouldn't you not play that in the first place? I don't get that. No, I don't really understand it myself. Because playing up to it off the cushion meant that your opponent's going to get you in trouble anyway.
Liam Highfield and Daniel Wells are still not back from their mid-session. Liam within one of the winning line. Peter Ebdon's 22 points up in the 16th frame against Ryan Day, but Ryan has that luxurious position. He only needs one. Ebdon needs every remaining frame if he is to seal a 25th Crucible appearance, which, for the record, would tie him on equal fourth with Jimmy White. Ronnie will move to 26 appearances. And then I think it's Stephen Hendry on 27, which is consecutive. And then Steve Davis, you said in your almanac, was either 29 or maybe 30.
I think it was 30, wasn't it?
Steve has the most, Stephen Hendry the second, and Ronnie will move third. But the 25th is not looking as likely for Peter Ebdon 9-6 down as it was when it was 6-all and he'd just smashed 3 frames in quick succession.
Now this is using the Resticle's more difficult shot if he could reach it. That's if he goes for the pot at all. I think he probably will. It's tough. Just on, someone sent me a message. It's actually a direct message. But I do want to ask you this now. I don't know if you've given this any thought in your job as snookering MC. What are you going to do about Chris Wakelin? What's his nickname? Do we have anything on that? Have you given this any thought? Because someone's asked me. I don't know. I hadn't considered it.
I'll need to check with Big Ivan Hershevitz, the Chief Press Officer. It may be. I can't think of that he has a nickname at the moment. If he has, I don't know what it is. We've got to come up with something.
I'll have a look on his Wikipedia. It might be have something there.
Chris Wakelin.
But you know, this is all this stuff will keep you awake at night.
Yeah.
This.
That's a nice to know that Big Al is tuning in. And nice to know, despite the fact that he wasn't able to make a comeback against Jackpot. Jack Lazowski continuing his fine form that he produced against David Grace in the second round. Alan will be part of the BBC's coverage, I understand. He's a brilliant commentator. I presented a couple of shows a few years ago, filling in for Jill Douglas, and Alan is a very cool head and a very easy pundit to be sitting next to.
He's
either in a presenter's chair or a commentator's box, as are you actually. So,
no, he's the top guy, Alan.
Good on you, Al.
A lot of time for Alan McManus, absolute star, beaten by a very talented player today in Jack Lazowski. Chris Wakelin, on his Wikipedia, there's absolutely no mention of any nicknames, so you've got work to do.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with something.
This is why they pay you the big bucks. Great shot. Brilliant shot.
I don't know who you've been talking to. Certainly it's a very, very enjoyable job. Maguire's up to 33 points, by the way. So we'll stay with this one a little bit, because Jimmy is also trying to get across the winner's line. Both leading by the same scoreline, 9-7.
Yes, of course, he probably already said this, but it's 14 appearances Maguire has made.
And they're all consecutive, I think.
Yeah, maybe that's what you were saying earlier. Forgive me if that's what you were saying, but all 14 have been in a row. And it could be that he's about to make his 15th.
Yep.
It hurts when you get knocked out of the Worlds for the first time for a while. And anyway, this is the point, potentially of no return. This is a big moment for Jimmy Robertson. If he could beat Michael White, he's won a ranking event this season. It all comes down to this last shot. And well done to him if he gets over the line. Nice guy, good player. 3 previous appearances at the Crucible have been fruitless, but he's done it. He's there, and he's just making sure he doesn't go in off. He hasn't done so. Michael White magnanimous in defeat, but Jimmy Robertson, that is an excellent victory. He was behind overnight, and he's beaten Michael White 10-7, and he will be in the draw, which is 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. The draw will be made from the Crucible. Joe Johnson will be a part of it. Rob Walker will be there. I'll be there as well. And it's going to be great. And it's going to be great for Jimmy Robertson because he's involved.
He will be. Right, let's go over. Stephen Maguire's break has come to an end on 33. Vafai is at the table. Peter Ebdon leads in the match in which Ryan Day is up 9 frames to 6. Ebdon's in front in the frame, but Ryan Day is coming back at him with a break. Is it going to be a match-winning break? Let's join table 8 and find out if the Welshman is about to wrap this up. Let's see what the table looks like. Well, it's a good position, isn't it? It's not quite an orchard of reds, but they're nicely spread for Ryan Day. He has withstood the Ebdon fight back from 6-3 down to 6-all, and all of a sudden it's looking a little bit anxious for the Welshman, who has, without doubt, I think, had the best season of his career so far. All those times in the ranking event finals where he came up short, was he destined to be a runner-up? No, he wasn't. Won Riga, beating Stephen Maguire in that final. Then he puts together wins in Gibraltar and Romania. It's been a great season for Ryan. And it may well be that Peter Ebdon's quest for a 25th Crucible has to recontinue next year.
25.
Well, I better stop watching this, actually. I've just realised Jimmy's going to be coming over for an interview. I'll leave you in Neil's capable hands.
Okay, we'll be speaking or hearing from Jimmy Robertson shortly. In the meantime, it could be that Ryan Day's on the brink as well. We're still trying to work out a nickname for Chris Wakelin. Someone said something about he will leave you in his wake. Or the earthquake, Chris Wakelin. No, that's not happening. Doesn't work. No, so that needs a bit of work, that one. And these matches are drawing to a close. There's not many places left in that bag for the place at the Crucible Theatre. Now, we don't know how long this match is going to go. That shot tells us there might be some more mileage in it. So without further ado, don't want to keep up too much of Jimmy Robertson's time. Rob Walker is ready to have a little chat with him about his victory. 10-7 over Michael White.
Well, they're coming in thick and fast. We will get you back to the conclusion of that Ryan Day match, if indeed he does get over the line. What a great comeback there at the beginning from Peter Ebdon. Jimmy, over the line, back at the Crucible for the 4th time, and that was a really good result because, yeah, Michael White's won a ranking title this season, the Paul Hunter Classic. A tough match, and you really dug in to come back in that one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. It wasn't the most free-flowing scoring game there at all. I just had to dig in really deep. I never really got going today, especially. Like yesterday, I was pretty lucky to win the last frame and come out 5-4 because 6-3 is a massive difference. But to come out 5-4, I was obviously happier of the two. Today, I just dug in basically. I didn't have my scoring boots on, so made it hard for myself. But dug in and over the moon.
Yeah, I can feel a lot of emotion coming from you. I mean, why in particular this year? Of course, it's great every year to get to the Crucible, but you've been there 3 times before. I can sense, you know, you're really feeling the emotion of the moment.
Yeah, no, it's a massive tournament, so it's just nice to get through. Obviously, the money means quite a lot as well. But no, it's the biggest tournament of the season, so obviously everyone wants to qualify and get there, and hopefully I can try and get a result this year because I haven't won there before.
Well, just on that, you're getting closer, aren't you? You were 10-1 against Selby in 11. Then I think you're something like 10-5 or 10-6 against Marco. and then 10-8 last year against Mark Allen. So you're proving each of the 3 times you've been, you've taken more frames than the preceding visit.
Yeah, no, I've gained more experience playing there now, and I'm slightly more comfortable. So the first time I played there, I was just so nervous playing Selby. So I never settled at all. And then I was more comfortable the next year. And last year, I was the most comfortable that I felt there. So good memories, and hopefully I can play well this year. I've been working with a sports coach, Martin Perry. So he's calmed me down a little bit when I'm out there playing, so which is nice. So obviously the more relaxed I feel, the more chance it gives me in playing well.
Well, you've got to be in it to win it. It's fantastic. And you always get good support from the boys on the South Coast. I know a couple of the snooker clubs down there. They'll be getting the mini buses ready, having stacking up the 24 packs on the way, and they're gonna give you a fair bit of vocal support, I think.
Yeah, mate, look, I haven't spoke to anyone yet. I've just come off my match, but I'm sure I have loads of messages, people wanting to go and watch. I want to just sort of knock all that on the head and concentrate on myself this year and do what I want to do. I'm sure people will come up and watch, but we'll see what happens.
Well, listen, many congratulations. I can see how much it means to you, which is great. It's what it's all about. It's why Judgement Day is so good to watch, but obviously so nerve-wracking to play in. Watch out for the draw tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Yeah. Well done. We've got to cut it there. So thanks very much to Jimmy. Let's get straight back to Neil in the commentary box, because I think Ryan Day is very close to getting over the line.
He really is. Thank you very much, Rob, and congratulations to Jimmy Robertson there. I agree with that point. You've got a lot of friends that come and want to come and watch you play, but ultimately you have to not worry about all that, because it can get in the way. You've got to worry about yourself, maybe a couple of 2 very close pals, a member of your family or whatever, but everyone else, as much as they mean well, it's all about you, and I wish him all the best. Peter Ebdon is carrying on, wanting multiple snookers. Why wouldn't he? Who can blame him for continuing? And it looks like Ryan will be in. So I've got some news for you, actually, and I think we'd have to okay this with Chris Wakelin, but he used to be a delivery driver for a famous or well-known supermarket.
Okay, this is starting to go somewhere. Go on.
How about the delivery man? But you'd have to agree with that. He used to be a van driver for, as I say, a supermarket chain. The delivery man, it's okay, isn't it? He delivers the goods on the table. Yeah. Are you not having it?
Well, I'm not having it, but let me ponder that. It's not the most dynamic of references, is it?
No.
What about, hang on, what about this? What about just the driver?
Well, that's the end of the match anyway. I don't know about the driver, but for now, it's Ryan Day who's won, and we all knew that he was the man in the draw that nobody really wanted to play, given that he won 2 ranking events this season. He won an Invitational in Romania. He came here as the red-hot favourite to come through. Peter Ebdon gave it all he could, but he had no answer, and Peter Ebdon bows out, the 2002 world champion. And Ryan Day, who didn't do very well last year, he lost to Zhao Gudong in round 1, but he's had a remarkably good season since. He looks a different player 12 months on, actually. And I can assure you, no one wants to play him, or potentially Stephen Maguire, who is 9-7 up over Hussein Vafai. It looks like Liam Highfield is 1. Now, he could be, surprisingly, he's come on the blind side. He looks to be the next man to go through, and he'll be in the interview room soon. Liam Highfield, he's over the line, basically. So let's go to table 6, see the handshake.
The last match to finish then will be Stephen Maguire against Hossein Vafai.
Yeah.
Right, I better get back out there then and grab a quick chat with Ryan.
I think you can hear the voice of Peter Ebdon there at the end of his match. Might have just picked up on some of the stuff he was saying about how cruel snooker is. Well, it is. I'm not sure exactly what he was saying. Anyway. So, we'll keep some pictures up of this game because it's almost over. Maybe we'll show you a small screen of Liam Highfield, Daniel Wells. But we have Ryan Day as the most recent qualifier. He's in the studio. He's with Rob.
Yes, here he is, Ryan Day, safely through to the Crucible once again. But Ryan, we almost had a wry smile on our faces in commentary because, you know, you bring a handy 6-3 lead. Ebden, he just thrives on those kind of challenges, doesn't he? And all of a sudden, it's back to 6 apiece. How big was taking that last frame before the little mid-session interval?
Yeah, it was, like you said, it was massive frame that. I think I'd only missed one easy ball the first 3 frames. Peter come out and started like a train and got me under pressure. And luckily it was a fluke that kicked off the break in the 13th frame. And then I got Peter in an awkward snooker and managed to get over the line, like you said. And that was key to me being calmer in the interval and coming out and finishing well.
He just always does that, doesn't he? I mean, he hasn't been to 24 Crucibles just out of luck. He almost relishes those kind of occasions. And you know at some stage he is going to have a charge and try and have a go.
Yeah, I knew coming into this evening's game that Peter's the type that fights tooth and nail every match, every tournament, wherever we go, you know. So this is the World Championship where everybody's fighting tooth and nail, and yeah, it was a handy lead, like you said, but 6-3 and never really close enough to the line to be comfortable.
So here you are, heading to the Crucible once again, 3 times a quarter-finalist. Would you say this has been the best season of your career? Because a couple of times you've been to the ranking event finals, always come up short. You've won 2 now and a 3rd title this season. It's been a great campaign. You've finally broken that ranking event duck, and that wasn't your only win of the season. So you should be full of confidence heading into whoever it is you play in the first round.
Yeah, it's without doubt been my best season in every aspect, really. And like you said, I've been playing with a lot of confidence. Half of this season, I was playing with a queue that I didn't particularly enjoy playing with, and I was still getting some results. But yeah, like you said, the last couple of months, particularly, has been quite good. And yeah, I'm just relieved to have got through this week of qualifying, because it would have been a bit of a sad way to end the season that I've had.
Heading back down to Wales, or are you sticking around to see the draw?
Yeah,
What's your approach?
Yeah, I think the draw's at 10 in the morning, so yeah, stay tonight, see the draw in the morning. If I play Saturday, obviously I'll stay up, and if not, I'll be heading back south.
Well done. You're one of the people I think that the top 16 want to avoid on the back of the form you've had over the last couple of months. We'll see who comes your way tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Well done, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. So we'll bring them in straight on up. It's been a fantastic day. It really has. We've still only got 1 match in prospect. What a win!
Yeah, it was just a drag out there, really. To be honest, just a real race for the line. That's all you can do, is just try your best. But we both didn't play great tonight. I just managed to nick a few frames.
How nervous do you think you both were about the fact that this great prize was dangling ahead of both of you?
It was all right early on. The first session was much better. I think just tonight is just so much nerves to get there. You know, I think it'd have been Daniel's first time as well. So
it would have been, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously to get there for the first time is like a dream. You come this far out there, it's such a sort of carrot down at the end. It's hard to not think about it.
Well, now you can afford to think about it, Liam. You'll be walking down those stairs for the very first time. Are you relishing that, having worked so hard to earn it here, or a little bit nervous about that first session?
I suppose I'll know, really. I'll know how I feel when I get closer to it when the draw's done. You know, it's just another sort of like a separate tournament now. So I'm just gonna play it down and just see how it goes, really.
Well, many congratulations. I think that makes it's 4 debutantes, 13. And you're one of them. So well done. Go and enjoy your preparations. And we'll just hand back very quickly, because Stephen Maguire, I think, mathematically is over the line, but he's still on the table against Hossein Vafai, and he's really had to show his class, Neil, hasn't he, to get over the line?
Yes, he has. Well done to Liam Highfield. Offer our congratulations to him. And that is the last shot. And a very sporting there from Hossein Vafai. What about that? someone said there was needle between them. That's not the case. It was a great competition, and bad luck to Hossein Vafai. These two guys probably have the kindred spirits, I would say. They're both really fiery competitors, but it is Maguire who gets through. And we've just seen two real heavyweights, two guys in qualifiers who are basically top 16 players. One is Maguire, one is Ryan Day, and nobody really wants to play those two fellas when the draw at 10 o'clock tomorrow is done. So that's it all done and dusted, and Liam Highfield is through. He was very understated, I thought, there. I thought he did very well, and Jan Verhaas just finishing off matters there was officiated in this match, and I think it was a really excellent game of snooker. I was saying Vafai, his day will come. It's twice he's lost in that final qualifier. Steve Maguire continues his long run at the Crucible. It's now 15 consecutive appearances from 2004 for him at the world's greatest stage for any snooker player. So all the action is done. We're getting Steve Maguire in shortly, and we'll be wrapping up. Hope you've enjoyed Judgment Day. It's been 2 days, but today, of course, it's all happened. And we've seen a few shocks. We've got 4 rookies, 4 debutants, if you like, at the Crucible Theatre. Liam Highfield, Chris Wakelin. We have also Lu Hu Shan in there as one of the debutants as well. He won early on. He's a 20-year-old, and he thoroughly deserved his victory. And he'll look forward to playing at the Crucible Theatre. And of course the other one is Tepchaya Anu, who beat Alfie Burden in a tremendously competitive match this afternoon, 10 frames to 8. So Thailand have their 5th representative at the Crucible Theatre. And like I say, the draw is 10 o'clock tomorrow. You can follow it all live. And just at this moment in time, just to remind you that the tournament itself, you can keep up with it over the course of the 17 days. Snooker's biggest tournament we broadcast live on Facebook Live throughout North and South America, as well as the Indian subcontinent for the 2nd consecutive year. It'll be in 40 countries throughout North and South America, as well as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka. So all of those countries, Sri Lanka at the end, as I mentioned, and Afghanistan, all of those different countries. Lost sound briefly there. So I hope you can join us for the 17 days. Tomorrow at 10 we'll know exactly who is playing who. And for now, I think we await the emergence of Steve Maguire. And he's with Rob. So for me, signing off for the time being, Neil Fold. Over to Stephen, but first of all, Rob.
Thanks very much, Neil. Well, one of the matches we were really looking forward to watching, and funnily enough, it's ended up being the last to come to a conclusion. Stephen, well done. He really came back at you quite well there, and he forced you to find another level, which you did.
Well, I don't know about finding another level. That was that was just pretty poor all the way through, really. He stuck in, but even he can play better than that. That was tough. It was tough out there.
But towards the end, you did produce some big shots to get yourself over the line and out of a potentially sticky situation from a commanding early lead.
Yeah, I made a good break to go 9-8. I made a good break, and then the last frame I was in with a good chance at the start. But I mean, the tables are just garbage. I'll probably get fined, but we shouldn't be playing out there and there. It's terrible. It's degrading, and it's not snooker.
No nerves then, just.
No, I had a little bit when he went 7 each because I lost a bad frame, respotted black.
Yeah, the respot, yeah.
Yeah, so it was either no, that was to go 7-6, so that was quite a big frame, and then at the interval, I started to feel, a little bit nervous, which was good because I've not felt like that all week really. So it means deep down somewhere that I obviously want to win.
Yeah, because it's obviously given you a little bit of an adrenaline rush, and then after that you've managed to get over the line.
Yeah, no, I was glad. I got a bit lucky at 7 each, and flicked a red when he snookered me, and I gave it a good whack, and then after that I kind of when you get a fluke and you work on it, it's handy, So that kind of changed the game.
You made the quarters last year, having come through the qualifiers, so you know it's not really a fatigue issue. So you'll be looking forward to seeing who comes out the hat tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll stay down tonight, and I think the draw's at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
That's right, yep.
I'll wait for the draw to see what day I play, and I'll make up my mind if I'm going to go back to Glasgow or I'll stay down. So, yeah, it'll be completely different at the Crucible. This isn't this is like a pro-am down here. So the Crucible's a proper tournament, and hopefully I get up for that on Saturday or whenever it is I play.
I'm sure you will. Well done, Stephen. Look forward to seeing who comes out the hat tomorrow. Thank you very much. So Stephen Maguire makes his way off. We now have the complete lineup for the big draw tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Neil Folds has walked all of 12 paces to come and join me here. Neil, let's start by rounding off that really good match between Stephen. I thought he played a slightly higher quality than he alluded to there, and I thought, he showed some real class towards the end of that match, because Vafai, although Stephen said Vafai can play better than he had done in that match, he really turned it into a proper contest.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're never going to get a great deal from Stephen Maguire. That's how he is. He got to the quarterfinals last year, and I think he lost 5 frames in doing so. He beat McGill 10-2, and I think he beat Rory 13-3. So he's a qualifier, and as you rightly say, got to the quarterfinals. He breezed through all those games.
He did.
He's a top 16 player, so you don't want to draw him. Okay, he might not, he maybe didn't like the table. I've got the feeling he didn't like the table. My intuition tells me that.
Just a little inkling.
Yeah, we'll brush over that one. But he's through, and he's red hot. He's sharp. He's played 3 matches. No one's going to want to play him or Ryan Day. There's others in there, the likes of Matthew Stevens and certain guys like Joe Perry, of course. But Stephen Maguire is through, and he beat a very good player. And I really liked at the end, because there was some talk that there was needle there, but there wasn't. There was an embrace between 2 guys that I don't know how well they know each other, but they respect each other.
Yeah, and I think with them, they just want to win. There's nothing wrong with showing a bit of passion.
No, absolutely not. No, that was a great game of snooker, and we've seen some really good games. That was a highlight for me, and the match where Tepchai beat Alfie Burden, that was a tremendous match, I thought, and the best player won in the end. It was the man from Thailand, and we had no late finishes, and we have to say congratulations to the 4 debutants, Tepchai being one, and Lu Hu Shan being another, Chris Wakeland, who hasn't got a nickname yet.
We're working on that.
And and Liam Highfield being the other one. So good luck to all of those guys. They're going to need it, because they're going to come out and their legs might turn to jelly playing at the Crucible. It's a very small venue, and I would recommend anyone that hasn't been there and played needs to get there a bit early and watch a few sessions of snooker, because it's not like anywhere else. Everything's on top of you. If you're claustrophobic, it's not going to be in your favour. It took John Higgins a long time to get used to it. So they've got all that to come. But hey, what a time to be playing snooker at the Crucible, for your first time.
I mean, it'll be incredible, and those 4 debutants will get an enormous reception. I'll try and play a little role in getting the crowd fired up. Just finally, before we wrap things up and look ahead to the draw, we should mention Jamie Jones. I guess of all the matches across the last couple of days, to dispatch Liang Wenbo, who arrived for this 3rd round of the qualifiers in such good form, to dispatch him with a whitewash and a bit of a slapping. What a performance. And he, to use one of your terminologies, he's streaky, and he's in form at the moment.
I never found out what price that was to win 10-0, because the sponsors would have been quoting. Someone let me know. I'd love to know. I've only been 300 to 1 or something, and he won 10-0. And he said in that first session it was the best snooker he's played in his life. So he said, bring it on. I'm looking forward to getting back there. He's been to a quarter-final before. I don't think he's frightened of anybody, and he clearly isn't frightened of Wenbo, the way he absolutely pulverised him.
Well, and he said at the end, for those of you who missed it, he said, I want to play Ronnie O'Sullivan because I'm in form and I fancy it. That's bold.
I always wonder when people say that, if they're saying it because they think, well, if I do get him, he won't look so bad. I don't think too many people would like to play O'Sullivan, not if they got aspirations when you could play somebody else in the draw. But listen, if he means it, and if he plays like he did against Wenbo, he'd have a chance of beating him because he played marvellous.
It's big talk at any stage, let alone in a season where Ronnie's won 5 titles. And just finally, do you know one of my favourite interviews of the 16? Jimmy Robertson was almost in tears. He could hardly get his words out there. And I was a little bit taken aback initially because he has been to the Crucible 3 times before, still searching for his maiden win. That shows you how much it still means, even for the guys who've been there, in his case, 3 times before. He was so emotional, he could hardly speak.
These guys have been up here for a week now, and they've lived and breathed snooker. They can't do anything else. And, you know, everything, when you're playing snooker, when you're a snooker player, everything is about your game and how it stands. You know, during the season, there's no time to think about other stuff. Maybe in the summer holidays, you can do a little bit when the crucible's over. You know, for him, he's probably thought about it a lot. And why not be emotional, you know? You want to see that passion, and good luck to him. And he's got better every round, and he's a very good player. He's won a televised match in Germany when he knocked the defending champion out. Seems a nice lad, and maybe a win's around the corner. Depends who he draws.
Well, speaking of the draw, thanks very much for your company, Neil. Really enjoyed sharing Judgment Day Eve and Judgment Day with you. So there's a confirmation of all the guys who won. Stuart Carrington back again. Graham Dott, the champion from 06. Rob Milkins, remember he knocked out Neil Robertson, what was it, 2013? Matthew Stevens, 4 times a semi-finalist, twice a runner-up. Ricky Walden, he's back in the mix, made the single table setup in 2013 when he came up against a high-class Barry Hawkins. Joe Perry's also made the semis. 15 apiece it was between him and Ali Carter back in 08. Chris Wakelin, he's one of the debutants. So too Tepchaya Anu, he is the 5th player from Thailand to make it. Ryan Day back in the groove, 3 times a quarter-finalist. Liam Highfield's another one of the first-timers. Zhao Guo Dong just conceding a single frame against poor old Adam Duffy, whose quest to become the first player from Sheffield to make it to the Crucible goes on. Liu Heo Chan is our other debutant, dispatching Rory McLeod, conceding only 2 frames. Jamie Jones with the whitewash. Lisowski, jackpot Jack Lisowski. No room for a comeback there from Alan McManus. Jimmy Robertson back for a 4th, and Stephen Maguire, twice a semi-finalist. He is back in the mix. Right, that's it from Judgment Day. That's it from the English Institute of Sport. 10 o'clock from the Crucible, the draw for the 2018 Betfred World Snooker Championship. 4 debutantes. We've got a whole host of world-class players. Be there or be square to find out how the draw is going to unfold. Judgment Day promised, Judgment Day delivered, and so too will this year's tournament. See you for the draw tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Good night.
Celebrate the iconic Crucible Theatre, a glorious arena of champions. Remember the passion and dedication of the Titans of the Green Bays.
Taking the double?
He is? The whispered commentary.
Everything's starting to flow now. Making hay while the sun shines.
The late night battles.
This is really unbelievable.
The tears and laughter of the game's greatest players.
The young man crying with joy.
I don't believe this.
5 minutes for one unbelievable maximum break. The drama and the passion as the best in the world come head to head. For 17 days, they all battle for that iconic title. Betfred, proud sponsor of the World Snooker Championship.